さてやりますか。
Start looking at the way that the map is built up. We'll get to that in the first round. As we get through these bans first, of course, Ying to be removed.
お、ひろゆくちゃんとゲハでやってんだな。
The Candelas to come through. Dokubi as well. Just wondering if we're going to see any of the new operators that we've not seen in Stage 1. Fenrir, to get banned.
A bit of Fenris. I think he's more likely to be banned than Ram is to be played.
Yes, I think so as well.
I've been on a couple of days in Japan.
ひろゆく残念だね。
You might have seen me if you'd watched it from home.
I have, yes.
I've been covering Japan, and we had bits of Ram. We had a lot more.
タイランドはユニフォーム聞いてないっぽく見えるけど大丈夫？
No, at least in the region I was covering, none of the new.
イントッケビはめちゃくちゃバンされんな。
Hopefully today, I want to see some labs. I know that obviously fresh.
1ラウンド目は何もせずにいますか。
Welcome back to EU.
2ラウンド目からはもう準備フェーズ全開飛ばしてるけど。
Excitement possibilities of those maps, but yeah, give us a treat. Take a risk. You know, let's Fenrir straight away.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to see Fenrir straight away, not been banned now.
お、みごらんこっち。こんにちは。こんにちはって今。
Actually, I think Skyscraper might lead itself well to it. And that is due to how the map is set up as well. Of course, we have that big division through the middle. Also important for the top floor, which is not exactly where we are right now.
あ、出たフリーカメラ。
On the barbecue and kitchen bomb site. Often called a tertiary for many teams.
フリーカメラチャレンジ。
It's going to be very important to hold on to the top floor here, basically as you would normally have to be opened up. And as you can see, the free roam cam that we have on our observer right here.
I was waiting for this to be explored as well. Didn't get a taste of this. We have, I think it's medics on the observing.
フリーカメラいいね。
Yes, he went to look to try and do a nod there. So
ブートキャンプしてるんだ。すごいな。ブリス。
But yeah, we should get a
次メジャー行ったら強くなりそう。
Let's get a roaming cam on the back there.
M&M start on defense. First of many jokes to be made today. And Nafe,
なんか不思議な色チョイスしてる。
You're unaware of what the dog can bring. That's the operator. Nafe could be the dog. I don't know. Depends who you ask.
これ観戦カメラの色に影響されるか。紫。
Consuming sort of area of effects radiuses. There's 5 of them you can throw out. 3 can be active at once, which is the code. You can see 3 of
カヤックとリーダーが割りショット
currently
か。
active.
あ、
And
ス
as
トロ
soon
ー
as
が
someone
当たったなん
passes
だ。
into them, you'll know. They'll know. They'll suddenly have all of their
アスト
vision
ロ病気
apart
して
from
たけど
about
大丈夫そうだ
5 foot,
ね。
10 foot
よかっ
radius
たよかっ
around
た。
them become unable to see until you shoot out the gadget a la sort of Malusi wub wub. So we'll get a better explanation of that when you see it, but they are encompassing. They can warn you if certain routes are coming through. They can win you certain angles and gunfights, and they can stop your opponents getting a quick entrance too.
Yeah, and that's why it's going to be very, very good for these kind of choke points. You can really lock them down because basically deny your opponent from taking that gunfight head on. As you see Blaz opening up here into Drum, he's going to be trying to take control of that top floor. As I mentioned, it's going to be very important to have that under control if you want to even try and attempt to plant, because as long as that hatch is under control of the defenders, you're just not going to be able to get that diffuser down in the kitchen itself.
Ticking along, and the first blow is going to be one. We've sort of highlighted the differences between these teams of how they've played against each other in history, how things have sort of shaped up. And I think for my money, M&M has the sort of smoother off season. They've obviously played in the Japan. The first kill is theirs. As well, they've come out the top of it. They've also beaten Heroic.
マジでなんか人がいないとこから弾飛んでくださると。
Heroic, they had a part in the Rainbow Rumble, but they lost out in the final versus WYLDE. They haven't quite had the same success. There's June getting caught a lot, but Astro, one of the new signups, huge gunner. That is something that Heroic have kind of dearly missed in their showdowns against M&M.
アストロまだフラグ2つ残してる。
Indeed, is his opportunity again to prove himself. Blast now up, trying to get into the faces of M&M here as they push through. Users will be able to get it down onto Astro. Instantly rotates out, but the trades keep on happening on either side.
ブラーズだから。
Blaz is just caught out before they can get anywhere close to the door. Tyrant had the back cover, quickly picked with another leader gun as well. And that leaves just Doom, as many players as health across the whole team, and He goes for the drop, but gets dropped. Tyrant gets the final lockout, and Eminem start us off. A pretty solid hold.
A pretty good hold indeed. Didn't really feel on the
必殺の準備フェーズ飛ばし。あれ、テック一緒に。
how often be stopped.
そんなことはなかった。
Won't be seeing a big spread from the gadgets to make sure that as many entryways as possible will be covered, just for the information's sake.
やっぱグリムは結構出番あるね。
Now, after that tech force, we
ラムよりも全然出番あるんだな。
Pace, maybe something different from Heroic here. Obviously, the lead-in was they were able to get a couple of kills. They were able to get little bites into it. Who's the man with the bees in the top right? That was a huge take.
Oh, that, sorry. So I was just quickly writing something down. Yes. Coming in with the Grim. It's going to be.
Why is Grim suddenly here? Explain to the people what's changed.
Well, there has been some buff regarding the gadgetry out there, which should make him a bit more intuitive to play and a bit more successful to successfully pull off there, as he almost instantly gets so good on him that he walked in just in time. But with that, it should be a bit more effective in the area denial due to the quicker deployment and just higher effectiveness of those bees.
It's definitely picked up for Grim. Hell, we've even seen some kills that have come off the back of Grim's gadget. As crazy as that might be to believe, this is the sort of world we're living in. They give you a little bit more option, give you a little bit more of a swing, give you more choice and chance to come on the back of it now, and the pace is very important. Salatov, talking of pace, looks for the fight here onto Leader. Cannot quite get the full clip there, and the feast inside the kitchen. Leader's not going to give away the territory yet. You do look at what he has in his pockets, though, both utility and the kit itself. If he goes down to this fight this early on, with this many hard walls still standing,
ここで逆サイドにローテットはだいぶ時間ないんじゃない?
And don't forget, I believe that they still haven't opened up the geisha wall either, because I believe there was a jammer on the other end, which means they couldn't have taken it out. Yeah, there it is. So nothing has been opened up so far. They need to remove that jammer first. They tried to do it vertically, but failed to do that as well. So now have to go horizontally. That's exactly what Blast's charge went for, I believe.
下から見られてるのは気づいてる。
Now, as they're trying to crack themselves into the situation, there's a concern of, obviously, we had Salatov around in that location before, trying to put the pressure on, and, you know, with the Nomad gone, with no real control on that width, with the wall starting to fall, you have to be ever more keenly aware of what's coming your way. Usus goes their way, gets to, there's a swing through onto Blast. There's Leader getting Usus in the trade-off, but not surviving much long beyond that.
攻撃見ないと分かんないけど、だいぶきついなこれ。だいぶきついなヒロイック。
Any real pressure coming down onto the side, I feel like. It's Heroic who's trying to get into the building, trying to set themselves up for the first push.
ただちょっとガジェット勝負で単純に負けてるもんな。
A lot more that, you know, those bees get active and start tracking you, which is why it became an option.
まあ順番だからね、グループ分けは。シーズン1の順位でしかないからね。単純にこのオフに調子が良くなったって感じだ。だって、BDS とかシーズン1、確か8位とか7位とかそんな扱いでしょ。俺気になること一つ言っていい？コーチのミスターオフィサーがさ、全然画面見ずにずっと食べてんだけど。大丈夫なの？
It's a daring mirror window, especially if you lose control of Terrace. And look at the way the M&M is set up. It's not really directly challenging walking in there. It's really just a mirror that's out there looking to deny that from happening. First set of the Selmas, I believe, have already been destroyed by an impact grenade, and that means they will have to go for a bit of a different approach, because they can just keep repeating that trick on and on.
あそこの状況を見れんでかいな。
Looking for just that catch, just that play against it. Nella's going to move slightly into the space that's been created. Obviously, that mirror window becomes very tricky to hold on to, but he's in such a good place to swing with the vector. As you see, demonstrated, the gun is laser beam at long distances, and the way it fires is flat enough. Users helps rebuild some of the structure with these.
一歩踏み込めたけど、あ、キババリアがきついね。
Down Blaz. trying to knock this route through. The pings come against them. Kayak hits Nello as well, gets the first take. It's the first time it's really started to go in their favor a bit, with Leader getting a quick second. Solotov gone. Users getting bit as well by Leader. A 5 versus 2. 3 kills very quickly. Tyrant at least stems the fight. Nave cannot win out on the back end Shrine though, leaving just Tyrant. Leader's going to see if he can try and get the going down. He's inside the other side.
さすがに SMG11 ではきついね。
Heroic at their first round.
Great round coming in from Heroic there, and
やっぱ壁割れると全然スムーズだな、ヒロイクは。壁割れるっていうか、そのポイントに対して一番嫌なステップ踏めるとちゃんと進めるね。ラミリアさんこんにちは、いらっしゃい。
Yes, I mean that's truly when you see the full capabilities of an operator. In professional setups as well. So
そう、総当たり NA あれズルだぞ。俺思うんだけど、なんで NA 総当たりなのと思ってる。いや、それ各地域統一するこのフォーマットになったんじゃないかって思ってんだけど。あれおかしいよね。その MENA とかさ、その特殊なリーグはいいよ。ブラジル、EU、NA、あとフェーズ2に行ける日本と韓国揃えないとダメだろ。その中で揃ってないのはマジで NA だけだからな。意味がわからん。
Use some utility here or there, grenades or breaching charges as well to get rid of them before.
それ総当たりでいいんだったら日本も総当たりにしてほしかったの。
into the attacking players.
なんでそうなったんだろうね。
Ready for the quick response there to any breach that comes into their favor there. Just holding on. Obviously the top corner of this, you're trying to keep that vertical into your favor for as long as possible and making sure that anything else that tries to swing around against you is, well, option A, held off. Option B, not going to get you if you go for the rotate down the hatch. You can waste time here.
結構ヘンリーで対応してくるな、MNM.
You know that they need this control, and you know that this is a map where you can almost try and retake aspects of it if that's the play you want. Here, that little blue icon you see above users and above that door is an activated Fenrir gadget. The white one underneath is one that isn't. You can see which ones are active at any point, as you can see across the top and the top right of your screen.
まあそれぞれの地域の多分 UBI さんの運営だと思うんだけど、今回はその
looking for the break on it.
賃金保証もさ、別に RJL もそうじゃん。それはそれぞれの地域の話だから、そこは別にどうでもいいと思うんだけどさ、今回ブラストが仕切ってルール統一しますって言ってたのに、って感じだったよね、NA に関しては。なんでそう当たりになってるのって。あ、来た、フリーカメラちょいちょい入れていく。
into this angle.
ちょいちょい入れていく。
Break on the disc. There's the player, the impact DMP. They're still not fully swinging behind it.
難しいね、フリーカメラ。操作がむずい。
Nothing on the back end. We've been here for 40 seconds
でも俺
in the fight.
NA は優遇されてると思わないよ。だってもうどんどんチームいなくなってんじゃん。優遇されてたらもうちょっとちゃんとチーム残ってると思うけど。まあそれは日本も一緒かもしれないけど、X-MOMENTさんいなかったらもう今のチームの維持数なかったかもしれない。スライアストロ見えねえ。この人マジで見えねえな、打ち方。あ、でも単純にミリ見してるだけなんだ。タイムアウト。
Changing colors and outlines of players is a new one. I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
No, I've noticed it.
X-MOMENT さんよくやってくれてると思うよ。
Oh no, it's okay.
Yeah. So we're So if there are any missiles, as you can see, there's a yellow outline. That's new.
まあでもなんか今さ、X-MOMENTさんタイトルとか全然増やしてないじゃん。バルとか行くのかなと思って行ってないし、どうするんだろうね。今後。
We need titanium roller to get to the bottom of this. No, but it allows me to get in a little bit more and lean in towards this game that's ahead of us now that I've got everything crystal clear. Which includes, I suppose, the crystal clearness of a timeout, the conversation. Heroic, they're obviously on their attack here. They're putting pressure on the Skyscraper. Remember, they had the choice of whether they wanted to come to Clubhouse or here. If you're going to usually here, you're going to be starting on your attack. It's your choice. It's... Not quite.
ちょっと MNM の打ち合い異次元だな、やっぱり。
The head off of Blaz, and I said it sort of briefly at the beginning. One of the things that if you go back and look through the old stats of these two teams hitting heads, the gun game is usually something that is in MNM's favor. Although Heroic can have huge gunners and big gun games, they've just never really been able to get it to connect against people like Tyrant.
昨日ミカさんはミラーして見てたけど眠い。俺さ寝起きな理由1個言っていいか。昨日アーマードコアしてたらさ、あるボスに8時間かかってさ、夜のさ9時ぐらいからやってたのに朝の5時までやってたからね。マジ地獄だったわ。なんだこのボスと思って。なんか個々の打ち合いがもう強すぎだぞ MNM。なんかそのチームとしてもすごいさ組織だっていいチームなんだけどさ、ワイスタンでもリーダーそれ。うわダブルピーク。それは無理。ちょっと距離感あるね。でもヒロイックはまあちょっとな。MNM は本当にラインの作り方うまいけど、ヒロイックはウーノ抜けてからやっぱラインの作り方ちょっと苦労してんなこれ。いやマジでさ、ボス倒したすぎて意地になるのよ。だからもう絶対このボス倒すまで寝ねえと思ったら朝5時まで。くっそ強かった。
I was gonna actually say that as well. Smoke canister out though. Also family probably.
Yeah.
強っ。
Rebuffed and pushed off the board.
打ち方がうまいよな。
Brings us to the last round of this half. Pretty gonna be fun in there. It would.
Well, are they a bit worried about the second half of this game? It was sort of alluded to that they have a good skyscraper game by new up and coming, bright-eyed, cheery.
去年の RJ 途中から寝てた。いやでも試合要素多いとさ、やっぱりオフラインも負担でっかいよなって話になって、今年は RJ ああいう形式になったんだよ。
I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. That young lad. The Heroic can be a good skyscraper team. Although they haven't really shown it in sort of the biggest play. They have a game.
いややめときますが、またオープニングキル取られてる。ネイフどこだ
？And that's going to be that worry out here now as he's active around Geisha. Last time Heroic were able to open up the exteriors and just start pushing in. Now the fight is being taken to them by the side of M&M.
やっぱりバルコニーからの外廊下からのプレッシャー強かったからクラッシュ入れてる。
And they definitely do hear some movement, but with the rotations that are in place, M&M they just have a bit more of a free roam around here, and you know,
いや今回ヒロイクはかわいそうよ。撤退決まったからだよ。撤退決まったからウーノが抜けるって抜けたんだよ。そしたら困ってた G2 が俺んとこ来ないかしたんだよ。いやこれはかわいそう。仕上がりマジで良かった。多分ちゃんとトップリーグに残るっていう話だったらウーノ残して仕上がりめちゃくちゃ良かったからね。ほんともったいないと思う。まあチームの判断だから仕方ないし、言い分はわかるけどね。ももちゃんさんフォローありがとうございます。でも確かにインビ出れないチームはさ、どうやってオフシーズン過ごすかだよね。うわクラッシュ来た。絶望。
Forced to jump out. Instantly some suppression coming through as well. Astra looking through the openings in the wall now, headed towards the window. Won't get the injure onto Solotov and to confirm as well, but still a 4v1. Now hasn't got the kit. 50 seconds left on the clock. He needs to find all kills.
選手どんなモチベでやってるならまあそうだね。
He's just hiding in a corner out here, so no matter what you do.
まあでもここで結果出したらさ、TT9 の ITB みたいにさ、一応チーム見つかる可能性はあるわけじゃない。その可能性を探ろうぜみたいな話になってると思うけどね。お、ホリケンさん、フォローありがとうございます。
Not a bailiff.
まあでも。俺は本当にモチベ持っていくの難しいと思うけど、インビ出れないまでもメジャーで上位チームになったら絶対受け入れ先はあると思うよ。さすがにそこまでいったら。賞金のあれがどうなってるか分かんないけどさ、絶対あると思うよ受け入れ先は。だって ITB とかよく手挙げてくれたなと思ったもん。 でもどうなんだろうね、今細かくは分かんないけど EU のチーム多分ね、ヒロイク確かね経営結構きついって聞いてたんだよな。ヒロイクとアストが若干きついって聞いてたんだけど、両チームとも CSGO は最近調子いいんだけどね。でもまあ CSGO だけでチーム運営挽回できる賞金手に入れられるわけじゃないからな。お、ワニバニさんいらっしゃい。バロがマジできつそうだからな、チーム運営。
idea of modern attacking siege as put to us by the big brains on our desk is
でもなんかザ・ガードのメンバーは G2 が受け入れ先を考えてるって話聞いたけど、なんか噂というか情報漏洩だったけど、強じめ
And he's almost put himself up to an even KD in a single corridor.
It's definitely, you know, throwing everything in one hallway there, trying to deal with the issue, not quite finding it. It's only up to Nello now.
ちょっとこれは淡白だった
situation, hoping to clutch this out, but they might just use this as well as a bit of a, you know, a false timeout. You have 90 seconds. There's going to be very small chance of him winning this round out here. So take that minute to discuss about what just happened. Slow it down before it becomes an irritation factor. That's exactly what he's going to be doing. All the way to spawn.
遊んでるぞ。ここは飛ぶぞ。フリーカメラでお茶を濁してるぞ。
From heroic is hard to play the.
やっぱ飛ばせるのがいい。
Always that situation. You want to, as you said, slow down the momentum. He's moved onto the Fenrir. He's very capable when he gets into it, and that is a good.
今のフォーマットは SIM もメジャーも行かないと1年で8ヶ月休みだから、資金たくさんあるのに弱いチームは撤退するしかない。まあそうだよね。結局バロと同じ感じになっちゃってるもんな。
Definitely an all-time favorite for many players.
それをブラストが次どう修正するかだな。多分次のインビでまた発表あるんじゃない？
See M&M opening up on some of the walls as well. See the Excalibur is instantly going off, providing a direct line of sight towards the barbecue and kitchen if there wasn't a castle barricade on the other side. So that's what they will need to deal with next. Is Nafe a lookout? Maybe getting some default cameras, always very helpful, especially in the attack.
確かにレギュラーシーズン短いよな。
Defenders usually don't watch out for them.
Oh, there's another one.
だって日本なんでグループステージで終わりじゃないけど3マップで決まるわけだもんな。もうちょっとやってもいい感じはするよね。
Power in the right hands, and it's also a power in the right hands. Look at that, all of those Fenrir gadgets taken.
でも出続けてるチームは結構しんどいですってなるとまた話変わってくるからな。
For those who don't know, if those gadgets get stolen or destroyed whilst you've got a code in them, you do not get that code back. So, Doom has, at least as we've seen, lost 2 potential activations, maybe 3.
It's definitely not great. There is still...
You're right.
There's some time that has been wasted so far, a minute 20. Not really any big pressure coming down onto the site just yet. There's a drone out there hiding though. Tyrant now looking to make his way over. Checking, making sure his back is completely safe. As definitely some crossfires being set up here by M&M as they're looking to find a way through, looking to go for that first pick. A minute already has passed so far.
It's the longest that we've generally had. All 10 players alive as well.
結構タイランドにかかってるな。あ、それともやられた。
This game and Doom is starting to have a great potential end to it. Blaz though, can he have the same impact on the second half the same way Doom has, who was obviously only on 1 kill?
キャスターオファー来なかった？マジで？
Gets one, Astro gets one right back. There's Blaz.
MC いらないってこと？
Tyrant 2 and now the 4 versus 2.
MNA リーグは担当する。え、そうなんだ。
From his opponents this time round. There's a little bit of separation, but not too far as Nafe creeps his way up towards the top of black. They know that they still need to force some of this vertical play and position out. Unfortunately, can't get anything locked in and solid. Nello gets removed from Blaz on the back stairs as well. Heroic. Another round in a row. If this next one goes away from M&M, as you sort of predicted, we'll probably get an M&M timeout.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to be seeing that.
もう唯一の生き字引なのに。フリーダさんだぞあれ。世界のフリーダさんだぞ。 いやわかるずっ
Really
とやってんのあの
interesting.
人だ
BT is such a difficult side to attack usually. Geisha very heavily relies on being taken there, or on the other side, the backstairs, which have to be taken down as well for that same kind of plan. So usually very heavily contested on the staircase.
他のゲームのキャスターとかもしてるし、あ、そうなんだミロシって。まああれじゃない。ワンチャンギャラ交渉して折り合わなかったらあるかもしれないね。
I wonder what like.
I have no idea.
Would it be the radical color
昔 T2 やってた人が格上げされたホストしてる。そうなんだ。
Players start getting customization choices over there.
なんでなんだろうね。
I'm calling the Ubisoft release.
Time to stop.
It'll hopefully be fixed soon, but if you are seeing outlines, we're doing our best to keep up with who is who as well, and you can assume Nello is still very much the attack on the side of M&M here. Again, this steady sort of wiggle through. There's the player not swung too far away. They've actually dipped their way out via Sushi on the far end. Users does find Astro. It's the first time it feels like M&M have been able to get a kill and get away, and it be the first kill for a while. Solotov. Oh, he was very close to a fight here with Doom. They know that he's somewhere nearby, but they just missed the wrong angle.
10強いね。
One back. He's trying to slip in towards the next angle. He gets himself onto camera. He doesn't know.
嘘でしょ?
Oh no, Tyrant. A quick response there.
Might exactly be what they need on M&M's site though. That's a man advantage they can now work with. A minute 20 left on the clock. Kayak as well, trying to take some fights towards Drum, instantly falling back. D1D pops. Oh, standing still, not trying to move. Hoping for someone to be a bit impatient, step a bit out of line.
人数優やとかの残り1分か。
benefit on the back of it.
うわうまゆずすそれは。 机の上に乗って写真撮るのか。
Dip Kayak gets dipped into Nello on the way back round. 3 versus 2 versus 2. Leader is able to get a good solid connection there. Now, as they find themselves at a bit of a stem, you look at 30 seconds left. The ping's on the player and users pre-fires. The shot just gets the tail end. A huge round for him so far. All down to the new pickup leader. But
SMG11 だったらあそこリロードしたいよね。
angle and the hold on the round. Post M&M timeout. They get themselves from being only on 1 kill before the second half started. Skyscraper is turning itself into more of a brawl than we really expected it to have any right to, with how things went together. Another obviously 2 sites, get themselves into a 6-4, 6-5, and suddenly the game on paper is as close as it could possibly be. But if M&M get that first foot here, this first swing with the Mavericks trying to steady and burn their way through, Kayak does want to have the response to the players outside. The spray through the soft doesn't net any rewards. They've otherwise moved off, but they've just made it uncomfortable for Kayak.
Yeah, for sure. He's not going to be able to play that fully for free anymore, but it's still going to be very difficult for M&M to remove the bandit battery. Of course, that was the goal, so they can utilize a Selma to fully open up that wall and really make that position unplayable afterwards. Now it's just going to be a bit uncomfortable, and Kayak will deal with it. He probably will still play there. It's just going to be like, have to pay a bit more attention. Going to be opening up on the other side as well now. And Geisha, Blast will be forced to drop back off. This is going to be opening up quite a long line aside for the attack to utilize, and with that bender battery gone as well, it will be opened up, so Blast has to try and make a move out here. Pulling away from a drone that you assume was stolen based on Tyrant's attempt to get rid of it. Obviously the Nook does get some secrecy against that sort of play and pressure, but with Nello putting it around the other side, it's Blast that actually gets Solotov. Suffers and sprays through the soft. Tyrant gets picked back up. Looks towards the shield, but doesn't stick around long enough to find the engagement with the player behind it. However, they do have an option. It's called throw the grenade round to the side, do most of the damage to Astro. They survive with a sliver on the shoulder, but as I think everybody who plays this game knows, a Warden with a 1.5 is always capable of tearing your head off. Most important part though was taking care of that shield because that really makes it into a strong position out there. That has been removed right now. Nello, you have to be very careful removing that bandit battery. Surely you're not going to try and put the exothermic on right now. He's looking to cover, but there's too many open angles for them to really step into that room freely to try and get the kill onto Kayak behind it.
Oh,逆に
ネロ思い切ったねそのローヘルスで。ただ時間がね。おお、あそこ耐えた。これで難しくなったぞ。
Sprays towards potential angles. Heroic aren't really offering him anything. They're all around.
攻撃むずそうだな。
Usually,
gun is. You ever go to like Laser Quest?
Yeah,
it's like that. It's a
it
new.
It is very enjoyable.
It's a new operator.
Does it make it work easier? But that
ソルトフでもなんかすごい強引に立ち回って入ってる。エントリーがえぐい。なんかもう俺絶対負けねえわっていうぐらいの強気のアタック見せてる。
See Eminem, they've obviously suffered on that last
あとフェンリル多
match.
し。
They did get a bit of a lead in there. They have, I still think, a little bit more bite to them. Heroic.
今のフラグも結構贅沢に使ってったよね。
When you're on map point, Team is ready for the hop out, ready to try and have a bite, but Nello instead.
ああ、殴ったとこ抜いたな今。多分そうじゃない。
And it was almost like a completely silent punch on that barricade as well. That if you do it that way, you don't make as much sound as you usually would if you prepare that window. So very good ears on the side, or drone on the side of Eminem, able to pick up that first kill, very important. And now the Selma's able to open up a Geisha as well. Truly, a lot more prepper work is being done very early on for the side of Eminem right here, and that puts him in a good position to take that top floor under that control. Oh, Solotov. Oh, Solotov.
それ勝っちゃうの。あ、さっきフラグ投げたの今のアーマーパネル壊したかったのか。壊れてない。いや、マーベリックス日本でも多かったぞこの間。まあ番にもよると思うけど。リードうまいね。相当走ってたのよく当てたな。
Taking control.
じゃあエリア側も取れてる。
Territory is usually a huge
2回取れてるのかこれ。
Cutting their way across, as Solotov did there. It does a lot of that work without as much of the risk. It's still not entirely over, obviously, but it's a much cleaner start here for Eminem, and they still have a man advantage.
I mean, it kind of makes all the alarm bells go off, right? Like, there's someone on the bottom floor in the actual site, guys. I've just been taken out there, and oh, that was a bit of an awkward moment out there with a Bravo drone.
Yeah, I don't think they expected the player to be exactly there.
No, definitely not. But that's a bit of information gained, you know, so it wasn't completely useless, the drone jumping down out there. That confirms at least one spot of these players. They know his second one was downstairs as well, leaving only one in a counter for time. He's going to go on the hunt right now.
Yeah, obviously.
まあでも芸者取れてるから食料庫に広がられてたらちょっとやばいぞ。あとここの幅パネルが開いてないの結構きついと思う。ディフュード押しね。すげえ引いてんな。拾えた。いやここさプラントの時にちゃんとユーズス前に出るの偉いよね。
Looks for the engagement just
yeah, puts
them into a 1v1, but the worst timing. There's a reload cancel, and there's a moment where he at least survives it. Uses though is up against them. He's playing a hell of a game.
最後はユースちょっと危なかったけど最後さすが MNM 好きなしやな。
Closer than it was before. Not going to be saying it was a very.
よし次行きましょう。サクサク見れていいねやっぱアーカイブは。どれホストの人？ 女の人？この人？この人ホストなの？この二人兄弟みたいじゃんなんか。ちょっとおもろい。ファビアン一旦解説なのかな？よっこらせ。この辺だな。また高層ビルかよ。ガチっすか？ ITB ちょっと楽しみじゃない？まあシークレットも楽しみなんだけどさ。
To reinvent yourselves, and that's really what we hope.
ミラクルの後ろにツイスターいるんだ。なるほど。
You weren't looking at the program feed though, were you?
No,
Because that was just player cam.
いやいやこういうのなんでどういうフリーカメラ
Alex is just going buy every reinforcement he can find.
Start slipping some bribes towards medics, content creators, if you want to see certain things. No, don't. None of that. What we do have, as we said.
ツイスターの多分ホットラインだね。フォールズとミラクルは。
This time with the sort of bans, the removal there.
ブラジルホットライン。
Alluded to the power creep at the start of the day of defenders. Solace gone.
ITB やれるのか見してくれよ ITB 俺は楽しみにしてるぞせっかく参画してくれたのに
When you look at people like Valkyrie being let through now as a sort of solidity, it really shows.
でもケンゾルとカントは結構あんまりうまくやれねえかなと思ったんだけどまた一緒にやってんだね
I mean that's it, right? There's a lot of good defenders right now. There's a lot of good options you can ban too, and there's still like 4 that could be proving a problem on your defense, on your attack there. So really going to be thinking this through properly. What I do like though from Secret is that we're already seeing a bit more of a formulated attack compared to what we've seen in the previous round, especially on this first side. Instantly the back stairs are being taken under control as quickly as they can. Breaches are being made, drones are being rolled through. They're already at the front doors right here, looking to find themselves a way into the plan down.
ちょいちょい入れていくあれ入れちゃってるぞ
Falls pushes all the way in, is able to deploy the Talon shield. There were some impact potential. Falls are just going for the plant. They stop the shield, they drop the player and get the kick cold, they're holding on and there wasn't quite anybody to offer some support. As you can tell, the outlines are
なるほどここがケンドリーで防衛するラインなんだ面白いね
an attacker on the window
あんなとこに展開型シールド置いて守ってるのあんま見たことない
back-end player Miracle wants to get in with the shake and I don't believe that is an attacker that's inside karaoke, but that is a bit of destruction on the back end.
ちょっとディフューザー拾うのがノアの位置が結構きちい
They have themselves this 3 versus 3 but with the kick cold and they know exactly where it is it becomes such a standoff down that corridor
アザール強いんだ
You can now see why Monty was banned of course because if
テン
Monty
ス
was
ターのコー
available
チも
that might
入
have
っ
been
た
the operator
へ
choice
ーなんかそうだね
rather than
コーチも
the
移籍してたね
support that specific plans now With that cold, indeed, there is some work that needs to be done, and that is currently being
コーチがちゃんとチーム掌握できてケンドリューに任せなかったらケンドリューマジで強いと思うけ
Just
ど
spotted out the Malusi out there, unable to connect fully though as Noah is still alive and able to fall back just ever so slightly.
時間もあるね
Tucks around the corner, gets the strike on the back. Miracle wants to find this fight onto this power position shield, and as I said, it's Yonka.
Jonka じゃなくて Yonka.
On top of the stairs, waiting for the approach. Kendrew has been able to slip their way maybe onto the back of gold here, but it seems like Upor is a bit aware of the motions that are being made. They've got the kit back to pull out the Legion mine, but the Legions being the mine themselves, it's Groovy and Miracle.
あれ結局シークレット
Very solid first attack from Secret there. They had a good plan, they went with it, and they stuck it through even though
ミスクリームさんこんにちはお昼休みお疲れ様です
What a great analogy.
今の人数優位取ってる時に当たりたかったけどまあちょっと難しいよな祭壇取ったの誰だっけあの祭壇取ったミラクルか誰かがうまかったな
I wouldn't kick it. Look, one of the diffusers has a red outline, one of them has a blue outline. It's the attacker diffuser and the defender diffuser.
Yeah.
Outline's are a little bit AWOL right now, okay?
Also, you guys didn't see it, but in the custom lobbies, there's now a new feature called Shuffle. I kind of want the observer to press that right before we start.
Wait, really? There's that?
Yes, there's a shuffle option now.
That would be...
そうね、頭に J ってくるとさ、読みになるよね。
Oh yeah, that's great. Anyway, breaches are being made right here.
EU は MNM 戦以外まだ見てない助かります。まあ時間的にそこしか見えないよな、日本は。頑張って夜更かししてそこだよね。まあ俺はその頃エースコンバットに苦しんで、エースコンバットじゃない。アーマードコアに苦しんでたんだけど。AC って言ったらエースコンバットって言っちゃうんだよね。
You can see the sort of approach is get in, get hot, and get violent. I really enjoy that from the side of Secret. They're making sure that there's always sort of steps inside the building. They've got the pinch here onto Yonka, who might be under a bit of pressure from just behind him as well. He's sort of keenly aware of the window and he doesn't want to get caught falling back. But Kendrew Oh, unfortunately for him, that's just put a bit of a reveal in. The pings come across the board. They know that there's Yupa on one side, there's Groovy on the other. Where's the swing going to come from? There it is. Falls actually makes the first move.
いや、お互いにさ、カバーがいいんだよ。仕上がりいいぞ。まあちょっと ITB は攻撃見てみないと何とも言えないけど、両チームとも仕上がりは上々だと思う。グルービー強いね、相変わらず。
Yeah, I knew he was still going to be in there and needed to deal with him sooner rather than later. So just go for the swing at that point, neutralize the threat, and allow yourself to take the space. You need to push on towards the side. A pre-fire from Kento, not quite connecting. Falls back slightly behind the shield. This is being pushed by Diana.
Grenade bounces around the corner. The spray comes agagnst it. Kanto's able to find
いやー、ここ持ってければ。
こ
こ持ってければだね。
で
も今のポイントに対してカバーがないのはちょっと気になるぞ。アズールなんでカバーしなかったんだ。現地から撃てなかった理由がちょっとわかんないな。そう、この車線からカバー取れると思うんだけど、何を嫌がったんだ。
Pickups get the first. They just drop down. They're not entirely locked out. There's the second. Can't quite get the full connection there.
J はドイツ語で Y の意味ですからね。いや、今ちょっとなんかカバーがあれだな。アズールのカバー気になったな。あそこであんだけカントが打ち合ってたらカバーオーダーしてたと思うんだけどね。何を相手してたんだろう。現地だって窓からプレッシャーかけられたとしても2枚いたから足りてたはずなんだよな。なんか弱えなって感じはしない ITB。TT9 さんの時みたいに。TT9 さんの時も何も噛み合ってなかったからな。カバーはできてる。ただ攻撃になってみないと分かんないからな。さっきも MNM のあの連携で攻撃に苦しんでたからな、放送ビル。強っ。グルービーがガンガン来ることを今読んでたな、関東。ここ 1v1 のあれだね、戦ったさっきの戦いの経験を生かしたね。
ITB, they want to make sure that they are seeing a breach and well, living up to their name and charging back into it.
It's good that they instantly try and reply because Groovy, he might have tried to go in a bit quick there. We just braced that aggression. Aggressive, definitely out there. Jumping out. Knowing someone seems to be around the back stairs. There's some pings coming through. It's a pre-fire. Not quite able to get the full connection onto Noah through the softball there. So steps out just in time.
カバーラインのアズールが。
う
わ、ノアきついか。補強入ってなかったのかな。いや、補強入ってるけどな。どの車線に入ったの。いや、これでちょっと話変わったね。祭壇バルコニーから入れなくなった。
Terrifying gun, falls now, gets himself to half health. Yonka suffers on the back end. Miracle's trying to just apply some extra pressure and make sure they can lock out the fight here, but it's Kanto still on the stairs, blocking it. And there's Kanto for his third of the round, stems the flood that was attempted onto the site there. Falls though, finishes off Noah in his 2 versus 2. Now they do have
でも上を押さえてる。
control, and look at the Valkyrie on the back end. They're just tucked.
4かがもうちょっとローヘルスだからな。関東もローヘルス。お互いにローヘルスだな。
Teammate comes to support him. They are unaware of Kanto. That might prove deadly.
もともとね、コーチのツイスターがフリアで、ミラクルとちょっと一緒にやってたかどうか覚えてないんだけどさ。まあその流れだね。いやでもブラジル人 EU が積極的に引き抜いてるの面白いと思うけどな。Yes, Ace! パーッとやっぱ強えな、打ち合いが。あ、でも ITB ここでタイムアウト取ったんだ。まあカントが今救ってくれたようなもんだからな。ラインは引けてねえ。ラインは引けてないよな。
Yeah, you can never take away from an ace. An ace is earned, and it was a decent spread across the whole round. When you get the opening frag on your sort of ace unchallenged quite early. It was around the
ここ一本だね。いいタイムアウトだったと俺は思う。ラウンド取ったけど、マジでカントが繋いでくれた1ラウンドを生かすためにタイムアウト取ったのはいいと思う。
Blue outline of an attacker, not too far away on Shrine, but
ちゃんとライン組んで当たりなさいみたいなアドバイスかな。
Hops in over onto the swing there. Just trying to get around. Noah sprays through, does a little bit of damage. There's Yonka fighting.
いやー持ってきたかったなそこへ。
On the VIP stairs, they're sort of making statements of not letting them enter clean.
いやもう全然引かないね。
The blinds come through.
あでもこれテラス側が釣りだ。
Across the swing of the
やばれてた。
pre-fire that at least gets one back and traded out.
カントがまたキル持ってってた。
They couldn't quite manage on the first kill last time. Yonka, how long will you last? Blinded, dips down.
ヨンカ引ければ十分じゃない。
And maybe finds himself in some safety.
引かない。
Suddenly pops up and drops Upor. In the main engagement, he's
Upor
still getting flashed, still getting blinded, and still somehow able to get out of there. Already sent in. Now they only have one grenade and one claymore left.
It's been a very scrappy fight in the start.
次の1キル取れれば圧倒的に ITB 有利だけどまだわかんないね。
came out on top of that one. Some small breaches still being made, however.
最強のカントがいるぞ。
Defense is also getting themselves ready with some extra super shorty shots to come through, preparing some of these angle holes. Savage moving through. Kanto back on the staircase again, where he just managed to get the majority of his ace in the last round.
グルービー強すぎだね。
Just basically wait it out for a minute.
そう CAG 2日連続エースすごかったよね。
They do not have the opportunity to pick you off clean without anybody being there to reply to you. Oh.
Yeah, Kanto getting a second there on the swing. Savages.
いやでも英語話せるって大事だよね。ただこの間さ RJI に来てくれてたジュリオが英語でインタビュー答えたけど俺英語わかんない俺でもめっちゃなまってんなと思って。モッカですさん初めてのチャットありがとうございます。こんにちは。いや時間は使わせてるぞ。うわすれ違った。
They're able to suddenly put it into a 2 versus 2. 20 seconds is the big worry. Groovy does have the kit, but it's an awkward way.
ただ下に行った分時間かかるが、ここで弱気になったらダメだぞ。
He knows they've lost main stairs and they cannot give that utility to the team.
バレてる。
Instead, they tuck in and find a player tucked out. And now with just Groovy left,
ケンドルめっちゃバレてる。
time's not on his favor. 1 versus 1.
バレてる。
He knows who the player is. He goes for the
いやそうね。ここピークしないと絶対ダメ。
And that means the round is going to ITB, getting themselves a second in a row, but it got very close out there in the end.
Mentioned.
Yeah, wasn't great, right? They had the 7 victories in 7 rounds in 1 game.
出たフリーカメラちょいちょい入れてくる EU のオブザーバーさんフリーカメラ来ました。
They've been able to take some time. Obviously, they took a timeout quite early on. They made sure that they could try and keep themselves a bit level. You're starting on your defense here. Skyscraper is a map where you should generally be leading on your defense. They've been able to piece some of that energy back together. There's an unfortunate blow. Remember,
いいラテロだね。
back rounds. He got a kill from that position last time round.
いや4本は取りたいぞ。 ITB は防衛だから。
That's it last time around. That shield
でも今のラウンドも結構ギリギリだもんな。最後ワンポイントにされてるもんな。なんか情報取られてるよな。待っていいピークと打ちに行かないといけないピークの判断無事わかる。正直浮かんで見せた方が嬉しい。わかる。フリーカメラね、俺実際使ってみたけどめちゃくちゃ操作難かった。結構さ、シークレット深めに踏み込んでくるけど割り切って踏み込んできてるとこあんのかな。でもなんか先に人を配置して今みたいに動いたところを潰すのうまいね。あと情報は終盤を置いてたからな。
4 versus 4, a body apiece. It's players that you can kind of trade out here. You obviously with those forest mines is something you want to do.
フリーカメラマジで操作難しいけど、来たフリーカメラ。
Gets popped open. A great use of it.
割れましたねっていう確認。ただインパクトで1段階だね。
Wall there as well at the same side of it.
Impact being used out there.
でもさ、今のインパクトって俺どうなんだろうね。結局なんかローテッドホール作っちゃったもん。今なんかビッグホールって言ってたから俺と同じ疑問持ってんじゃないか。ラプラスさんお昼休みからこんにちはいらっしゃい。寝起きの声ですいません。 ちょっと昨日8時間ボスが倒せなくてアーマードコアやってました。ITB はね、まあ、新規参入なんだけど5人中3人が TT9 から譲り受けてる感じなんで、いやー入りきらなかった。今空中で爆発しなかったらやりきってたな。チェックマッド、いや、バレサドか。うわ、よく飛ばしたのはそれ。もう神がかってる。あー、やりきれんかった。またカントじゃん。最後アズールだけど。
They have an ambush coming through there. They took the side and instantly there was a person right behind them, shutting them down as they went in.
気がつけば取ってたぞ。
ITB to take the lead here.
今でもすごいね、音聞いてちゃんと目突っ込んでくるのよくやってたね。
To like show that you belong here, right? Like show that you have what it takes.
カントはね、マジでタスクちゃんと固定してあげると最強に強いプレイヤーだと思う。ただその分やっぱりアドリブとか柔軟性に弱いのが事実。イケカントがやっぱりね、彼の一番の特徴だと思う。
They can really like frame shots. Just call him, you know, Medic Scorsese from now on, you know.
そう、TSM はね、お金ないんです。TSM は今年のリーグはどうこう言う前にお金がなくて撤退していきました。他のタイトルもめちゃめちゃ撤退してるからね。まあそれもこれもオーナーのパワハラが問題で一気にスポンサーが離れていったって話なんだけどさ。
Obviously, they've had some big changes. They have themselves, I believe.
いや、リージョン普通に強いね、やっぱり。全然ナーフじゃないね。スーパーショーっていらねえんじゃないやっぱり。
Urko got a bit of a hand as well as Jonka has been spotted out. Finds himself behind a sushi bar, but still could be prone to be taken out quickly as Upor does take down Kanto. Azur now active around on the back stairs as well, trying to provide some support to Jonka. So making sure no one is going to get through those staircases. LOL もダメだったもんね。
Oh, Kendrew gets the quick response. Upor goes down. Groovy has taken, as he said, a huge amount of damage, but still standing is always the important part. Behind the drum, with Savage getting the grenade kill. Suddenly, this is a double down body balance. Not getting the lock onto the kill onto Savage. Does find it the second time round.
企業だからね。チームが潤わないとかなり厳しいと思うよ、e スポーツ。で、シージだけじゃなくて、最近他のタイトル。LOL と CSGO とドタツ以外は結構みんなきつくなってきてる気がする。
Yeah, we have to be honest with that, of course. Like, it is a defense.
TSM はね、でっかいチームだったんだけど、ガチでバブルはずけて今ティア3ぐらいだ。針が見えるようになっただけのオペ。針が見えるようになって、なぜかショットガンとグーマインのダメージっていうバフをいただいたオペだ。逆に強くなってる。
A coherent plan on the defense.
いやだから経済基盤弱いんだ e スポーツチーム。
People will have to come to you. Now you have to
ATX に殺された感は。いや俺は思うんだけど、俺は仮想通貨って結構まだ水もんだと思ってたの。そことそんなに大型契約して分かんないよ、他の業種排除したかどうか分かんないけど他のスポンサーちゃんとつけなかったっていう俺はサボったなと思った。いやマジ水もんだよ本当に仮想通貨は。APEX 部門の給料もでかそう。あ、そっかそっか TSM まだインペリアルハルドが頑張ったか。APEX もな、競技シーンがだいぶ苦しそうだもんな。これ次は TSM オープン AI ですね。どういうこと？まあ立て直せればいいけどね。ちょっとブランド的に難しそう TSM は。ミラクルファーストバラ取るね。ミラクル7の3だぞ。これ飛び出したんだ。うわ、ノア落ちたのきついな。飛び出してそこ抜けんの？ちょっとノアが沈んでるね。
We usually describe this map as being divided, especially in the top floor. There's a giant
そうなんだ。
basically cut in the
それ面白い
house
ね。
area
FTX が破綻するまでの解説、俺もちょっと見てみようか
and
な
that。means there's going to be two choke points that they usually will have to go through as attackers. And putting up the Fenrir devices
俺はね、
out there
仮想通貨すごい画期的だと思うんだけど、
for attackers to push through. You saw it at this specific
国っていうか政府が絡まないとマジで普及しないと思ってたから。いやあれ政府からしたらさ、そのお金を発行する権利の既得権益を一番大事な既得権益取られるわけだからさ、いや絶対法律規制かかるでしょって俺思ってたからさ、投資しなかったんだけど。だからなんか法律が整うまでの隙をついて儲けるっていう発想はわかるんだけど、実際今もまだ安定して提供してる仮想通貨あると思うからさ。
Ruby's offering some shoulder of supports. They can't just scream their way in.
これは結構リスキーだと思うね。
The wall, the destruction going a bit low. Falls cannot stick around too deep now, and that means that some of that swing has been pulled away from them.
I'll have to move out slightly indeed. Cannot stick around because the pressure will be too big, but he might be trying to go for a bit of a revisit later on, or at least
わかる。仮想通貨どれを信じていいかわかんないよね。
being pressured inside a geisha, make sure that the attack is not really
俺が昔いたキャンプファイヤーも仮想通貨やってた気がするけど、あれ結局事業展開できたのか。
was an attacker as well at that point, and Kanto now trying to move in is going to be seeing the player out there on the double door, unable to connect.
So that's a player inside of Fenrir mine. There's Groovy and Kanto getting one each. Cross opposing sides in half. They lose that lead on, and you can see the mine has been removed since that position where the player got killed.
わ、グルさんそれは
doesn't get the full
軽傷で済んで助かった。コロケ入れてる。
But look, they're trying to batter their way through onto the site. There's only 5 seconds.
いや、グルビーが強い。見えてない。
I mean.
どうやって押したの？そこ一人。一人。あ、最後二人抜いてるこれ。ここ一人でしょ。グルビーまだ下でインジャーじゃないよな。グルビーどこで抜いてんだこれ。グルビーどこで抜いたそれ。ちょもう一回リプレイ見せて。これ奥でしょ。
That was very visible. Just not
これ階段グル全然リプレイで見ても分かんない。繰り返し見ても分かんないんだけど、グルビどこで抜いたの？グルビ奥で抜いてる？一人インジャか？
Probably would have been because the round would have counted out of time. Was only like 3, maybe 2 seconds left on the clock at that point. You had the opportunity to dig yourself in.
タイムスリップできるなら大学行かずにバイトして全部ビットコインか。まあね、高い時に売り抜ければビットコイン全然ありだった。先物投資物件みたいなもんだからな。ビットコインっていうところにあれだもんな。新興企業に投資してるようなもんだもん。
But it's the difference between a round win and loss, and might have been now taking that lead on the attack first round on the board right away. That's great for them.
ドラゴンでグルービー抜いて廊下で2人抜いたくさい。あ、一番奥の最初に抜いたやつがグルービーか。やっぱりキルログ的に。
Not really had the opportunity too much. So let's see if they can build on this. Glass being on the board.
いいよ。全然 TT9 の頃と違うぞ。TT9 の頃マジで1ミリも何もできんかったからな。マジでお前ら絶対チーム内で喧嘩してるだろうぐらいの勢いだったから。ビットコインで買う以上に売るのに勇気です。ああ、わかる。もっと上がるんじゃないか疑惑ね。
I'm curious to see when the Sens will get dropped. Obviously, you're rolling that light wall alongside the idea of the Glaz. Is very much pocket play, and with Yonka not too far away with the kit, I'm wondering if they're just going to try something a little bit.
いいね。こういうタクティクス見たいよ。お、ミラクルといえばショットガンじゃないか。
Miracle is there, not too far away. You've got the mirror with a bit of a long watch and the chance to see fours. Noah's keeping themselves a bit stretched and spread out.
ダークゼロの後一人誰になったかな。ライスです。昨日マン指示上げてるの見てもらえれば。
Operating against them as a hops in, takes the G mine and
TT9 はだから救済会社だよ。
Player on the swing, a little bit more cautious of taking it. Focus elsewhere.
EU チームが10チームにちゃんとなるように救済してくれたいい企業なんだ。
All the way across. They looked like they wanted to throw one more for a second, but nothing comes through. Falls is watching and waiting, kind of hoping somebody moved in behind it. Yonka goes for the rotate onto the soft. Remember, they've got the kit, and they're the only one.
ポジ要素あるぞこれ。多分ちゃんとコーチが見てるわ。うわ、落ちちゃった。
In the meantime, gets Noah. There's the Glaz looking for anyone else that might be, but
嘘だろカント、そこのポジションキープめちゃくちゃむずいぞ。
Drop themselves. They're trying to get the coverage. inside the smoke itself, they kill.
さすがに起こせないか。あれでも現地取れてんじゃない？これ。あ、これ結構アズール大事。戻ってくる相手を抑えないといけないから。
Do you double down on the back of it? You've still got the glass, you've still got some chance at the smoke, but you lose where Sense was onto the opposite side of the site. It becomes an entirely one-sided push.
Kento actually got dropped by the goo mine out there. Savage is looking to go for a bit of an aggressive swing around, but gets picked up himself.
ショットガンで削りきれんかった。
Almost loses his life as well as it goes for
ショットガンがやっぱりミラクルのショットガン出ました。
Out there, Yonka now alone in a 1v2. Now he knows where one of them is with that shotgun. It's going to be very difficult for him to engage that on close range. So he needs to get himself some distance, but he gets shot from the back, and Gruby will find a kill.
フナティックいつもあんな感じじゃない？そんなになんか特段悪いようには見えなかったけど。
With that shotgun, no matter the range.
Now you don't need to trust. Now you know, and it was across every shotgun. We saw that. Oh, look at this fight. Oh, that was Kanto picking it up.
フリアは結構ここぞって時にさ、あれも FTX 破綻なんだけどさ、影響が。
Now with that
解散しちゃったからな。
with the goo mines off the board early and the gun of Savage, it's a little bit of a blow because as we said, Legion's had a bit of a buff. He's had a bit of a
でもそんなショットガン使ってないよね。
Not if he's dead.
No, it kind of defeats the whole point.
俺はなんか最終的にはいいところに着地したなと思ってたんだけど。
Not recharging them if you're dead. Or at least you cannot deploy them if you're dead. So you kind of want to make sure you get the most out of that gadget, and taking an entry fight like that, well, that might not really work out fully. Either way, there's the entry there for ITB. It's Gruby now trying to rotate around a little bit, trying to see if he can
こっちのグループもこの2チームの仕上がり見てると分かんない気するけどな。
for a bit of a flank, but I believe he might be watched here, and actually with that drone coming up as well, should be spotted out. They have it, a shoulder being seen, and now they know Gruby's out and about somewhere up on that top floor in the house area.
They can isolate themselves a fight here if they
まあでも
can
フリアは残念だけ
remove
ど
one more player and put themselves into
ね、そのメンバーが今ほぼトップリーグ、多分全員トップリーグ戻ってきたんじゃない？レンダー戻ってきたし。それはそれで楽しみじゃない？
Kendra isn't quite going to fall for that this early. Instead, they actually rotate towards the other window.
いやでもアストロとさセクシーケイクが組むとは思わなかったから楽しみだね。あんだけヘイト入っていったアストロがちゃんと復帰できたのもおもろかったけど。ミスクリームさん仕事頑張ってください。
That first round.
For sure, but I've been looking quite a lot more competitive than they have in stage 1.
カント強すぎ。
Getting a beautiful shot there from
14だぞもう。
finding themselves with yet another person in
ス
their
パージーさんおはよう
advantage
ござい
now.
ます。
Looking to find themselves from a bit of a vertical position from down below. There's not much they can do there with the current operators. They need to go for a push. A Miracle will get
ケンドリュ
Kendra.
ーが乗れない
Miracle
ね。
gets the take there onto Kendra, swings around, is about to have another gift potentially on this rappel. Heard the audio, just misses the motion. No, Kanto! Removed and deleted there by Miracle, who had the first swing, has done
カントが2キル取っても人数寄せられないね。お、オズール今の爆発で1人持ってってんだ。すげえ。
All three players here onto the single back black stairs as they're trying to screen through. Gruby gets one, can't find the second. They're on the soft wall of gold, a 1 versus 1 with only 5 seconds left. They do not have the diffuser. They hope that they can find the spot. There it is. Picked up, going for the plant and the hold. It'll just take Miracle to pop around this corner
じゃあバレてんなこれ。
and pop the player's head off.
Plenty of time there for Miracle to get himself in the right position. Knew that the plant was going through, so there's only a couple of spots he can be in at that point. Perfectly played out there in the end by Secret. ITB started off that round.
セクシーケーキティア 2C です。いやいや、ティア1戻ってきました。E1 スポーツっていうアストロと同じチームです。ブラジルは2チームちょっと入れ替えがあって再編があってそこに滑り込んだって感じです。ITB はもともと TT9 です。ケンドリュー、カント、ノアがそのまま TT9 から合流して新しくアズールとヨンカが入ったって感じですね。いやブラジルは結構面白くなったよ。
What are they gonna do? EMP coming out soon at least. Want to be opening up that geisha wall just to put that pressure down right away, but as you can see it's a cave.
結構カントが序盤削ってくれるけどその後のなんか人数の集め方がうまくいってないね。
The target in the range of the EMP is not as big as you might hope. So you need to be very certain of where it is. And that first one failed, so the second one goes higher, but also fails. And that means that wall will stay shut.
Yeah, they threw the first one with the anticipation. It was maybe a charge at the bottom. It wasn't. Then the second one, I mean, from that angle, from that distance, obviously their impact, but as you can see, as gestured, it is up there.
いやこのエレクトロクロ壊さなかったらだいぶでかいぞ。なんで今そこ雑にいっちゃったんだろう。
Suddenly fall your way back. There's more than one way to get that wall open. None of them are quick. It's always the thing about Skyscraper is to get to, you know, from A to B, it's very different to other maps. There's a lot of little shoebox rooms. You have to cut and clear your way through it. This watching from above. Does get the first kill. Falls. As the flashes come through, they're already pushing right onto site. But with that blow, watch from above, I believe they're able to cut off the approach. And it doesn't matter how close you get with the diffuser, you can't quite make it through, and you know you're being watched. The route back through is a tricky one. Kendrew is going to try and see if he can slip his way once again via Sushi Bar towards maybe the close plant corner. You have Noah watching a bit.
音立ててもらわないと絶対プラントバレるぞ。階段降りてきてるぞ。
Kanto is out there on the cover, so he's going to be able to provide.
いやカント見ないといけないところが多すぎる。
But you're just so uncertain of whoever is out on the top, and as you lose Kanto as well, Kendrew is going for the plant.
よく取ったアズール。それは当たり千金。
3v3 post plant situation out here. This is a very important round for item.
グルービー強すぎだろ。
just jumps down from the top, gets a kill, brings it back to a 2-on-2.
Huge from the top rope there from Groovy. The 2 versus 1. Noah's trying to hold on as best as they can. They're caught out on the back though. Miracle slams into them. They're trying to find the diffuser. Where is it? There it is. Tucked in one of those little easy corners.
Groovy が強すぎだろ。
And it means Secret can pick
グ
it
ルー
up
ビーも
and
12キルか。
they push themselves onto map point. They are one round away from securing themselves 3 points.
A point is gained, but 2 more still to be taken. And that goes for both these teams. 2
ちょっと届かねえな ITB.
Already got way more rounds than they did in previous matches in stage 1.
4課の屋根裏か。
More. You want those points. You need to convert it for
あ
a
と
major
あれだよ
position in the
ね
end.
あれ今日ワイルドの試合あるよね。俺たちの大好き。俺たち大好き。ワイルドあるよね。
What it's for.
パックブル出てくるよね、パックブル。
I mean, it's the dream of everyone is to get those points. There's not many opportunities to get those points as well. And from here on, we'll see if they can just push themselves one step closer towards it. It's
やっぱハングリーとパックブルだよな。
Looking in, trying to find.
まあ EU は1チームお休みが絶対出るからね、1日のうちで。5チーム制なんで。
Or get it locked down with the clash. They are holding out hope at this point.
ハングリーの屋根裏感もいいよね。ヤンキャットネコさんこんにちは、いらっしゃい。
Doors being opened up, drones being put in position.
うわー、このクラッシュきちいな。
Start this one off strong. It's showtime for them. To show what they got. Kento, is that a missed drone? He hears something and he's checking for it, finds it eventually. So Savage has been seen. It's going to be one Joker out of course. Kento takes him down as well.
カントさん。
By the fear factor as well.
今さ、多分打ち合いに行っただけじゃなくて状況確認しようと思ってちょっと覗いただけだぞ。
The biggest impactor. That's maybe the first kill. I think we've sort of got the taste through of it. But even then, it's gone against them. In that situation, it is a sort of slow it to stop, but it's something that is often quickly dealt with because usually
8は出たよ。8だいぶ出た。8はね、この1個前の試合で。どっちが使ってたっけあれ。
I'm going to assume from one of the grenades in the pockets that's no longer in the pockets of Azzy. Yep.
ゴジ美人はよりもそうだよ。
They're just holding on towards the VIP stairs. They're again hoping to get that bit of width.
池カントが刺さってる。ただね、カントがめちゃくちゃ序盤キル取ってくれるんだけど、マジでラウンドダッシュに繋がらない。いや、ミラクル置いてた。入ってんだよな、もう。あ、グルさん強すぎ。グルービー桁違いだな。グルービーバカ強えな。
And as we said, you gotta be paying attention to that Brazilian factor
いやーでもカントがあんなにキル取ったのにな。
The attack managed to find some success there.
ちょっとね、なんか中盤以降のメンバーの寄せがちょっとよくわかんない感じする。あ、G2 と BDS か。これ楽しみやね。オレゴンなのか。やはりジェミに2回というのなんだね。
They won a major not too long ago. On the lows, didn't get to Copenhagen. Didn't qualify for that major. Ups and downs.
So both these teams gonna be looking to start it
バ
off
ウンド
strong.
できるだけっていうか、前回の強化でじゃない。前回の強化の後競技シーンなかったよね。使いどころはあるんだよ、多分。
Even though G2 of course have gone through plenty of iterations of the team, whereas BDS has stayed 80% the same throughout. That's what
Weeping.
この試合楽しみだね。G2 の仕上がりがどうなってるかだね。いや、最近のひろゆきの仕上がり見てるとUUNOの出来かなり良かったからな。
The LCQs went for them. There was nothing that came before that. G2 much higher, sitting 7th because they had a performance at Copenhagen.
そうだね。グリム一番の強化は多分起動時間の速さだと思う。まあ、あとはバリフとハードブリッジングチャージ両方持ってるってことかな。その2つがやっぱりアップデートポイントとして大きかったと思う。
Well, that's the thing, right? We said it before. Like, if you throw your first stage away, it's going to be truly difficult to get back into it because there's no more 3 stages, no more 3 majors to get those points.
防衛が硬すぎて波乱が起きるマップだからな。
If you throw away your stage, you're not at the major.
昨日見たけどどっちが勝つか気にしない。ダメだよ、それ結果分かってんだから絶対勝てるポイントに張れるじゃねえか。インの番最近多くないですが、まあインはやっぱり破綻埋めるからね。どうしてもエルムズ今何に対して5-6使ったの？かなり贅沢な使い方したように見えるけど。
It's like get down, Mr. President.
Yeah, sort of, but then the base utility.
Yeah, for bulletproof. All right, the Valk cams getting maybe a bit of a read on some emotion that comes through. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate timing for LM. Saves the bulletproof. Efac's been able to get himself tucked around close in the corner with the Nook and he's ready to put some pressure. They found the open hatch. They want to try and find the right inside the G2 site earlier rather than later.
うわ、そこに貼ってあんだ。
Fenrir stops the route and there's the Valk cam.
そのブラックアイはきつい。
The eyes on it and there's
あれ
Oh, grenade. No real stopping that. Oh, the flank.
Retakeされた。
Hello, Alamau. The sneaky player, the Valkyrie, revealed at the end like the problem for the twist. Pre-fires the angle. Efac and Alamau's able to get LMs. They have the kit.
いやでもアレマの位置がディフューザー上だからな。
They want to see if they can maybe cement this single kill
殲滅するために上に行かないといけない。
try and push elsewhere. It's Virtue tucked further and further back inside the corner. Has a bit of safety to work with, but the longer he goes untested, I mean, look at the health of Shaiko. It does not take much from either of these two guns. Now Virtue joins them. Alamau is the only one with any health beyond 5.
力分かってんな。いやさすがにローヘルスすぎた。でもそれでもヘッドショットか。
lot of pressure now onto Shaiko. He's got to have the drop. The C4's over the top. Doesn't have the bite. Shaiko's got the kill, but he's got 20 seconds. Well played and rotated off here by Alamau. He's been able to waste all the time. That bulletproof that was saved by Virtue is giving all the read on what's happening ahead here. Smashes and shoots it out. It's going to try and hold down for the plant. Baits the first fight. Doesn't come his way. They've ring around Rosie the other way around. They're still holding on to Laundry. They don't need to get it.
さすがのシャイコでもだな。
With the title of G2 takes the first round.
Have to say, we're on free cam there. We just see the tracers coming up from behind and 2 bodies drop. That was a very cinematic moment. Cover 3 right there. One of the first I'm sure we've got that way. Great flank coming through. Great use of the Valkyrie cam.
ファビアンがデスクで俺のチームだから勝ってほしいねって言ってて草。
G2 winning that round. Well, not convincingly because it did get quite close in the end. That diffuser being dropped and Elma having that control force.
いやジミーちょっとかわいそうだよね。でも G2 は歴史繰り返すね。昔のクラインと全く同じことやってるもんな。
G2 as they go up to the top floor now. The bedrooms.
マジでトライアウト下手だよな。G2 久しぶりにこの未来見たぞ。めちゃくちゃこの未来久しぶりに見た。
And that's just from missing a Valkyrie cam. If that cam had obviously been caught and gone, there's no way Alamau's swinging anywhere near that level of confidence. But the timing was there. It was pinch perfect.
サーボスはね一応レンタルだったんだけど、まあ同じタイミングの時だね。クライントサーボスでインビかなんか世界大会出てる。
Just swung to one angle, but
メジャーかな。
popped up and moved to the other side of stage. It is one of those rough rounds that you just have to sort of ride out and go, okay, we still had good motions. We still had a good power position, and they still had the opening 2 kills into their favor. G2 will be well aware of.
そう結局昔の人呼び戻すっていう分かってる人呼び戻すっていう
hopping onto a different little part of the room and then just changing rooms entirely, making sure that they are kept guessing on whether or not you are still in that position or not. BDS with the drone game is going to be trying to clear the map as soon and as effectively as possible by making sure they have to cover the least amount of ground with their faces as possible. And as the drones roll through, very much aware of a little bit around the security room, which is where Virtue is located. So that might be the very first gunfight we're headed into soon.
アザミバンしたら
obviously Virtue has the choice to drop down the hatch if they want to get out of there. They're there to maybe bait some attention, some utility, and you know you can see teams that are on the sort of aggress roll a player underneath that hatch to be ready to catch them. It makes things riskier, but look, there's 2 drones that are taken out. They have the hot ping, the grenade.
いやまたバーチ生き残った
Onto Virtue, he's going to stay standing and get out of there. They obviously don't know how close they were to getting the kill there. Pressure is certainly being felt. Another grenade somehow gets the drop onto a Lems.
いやバーチューその HP で1キル持っていけるのはかなりでかいね
That must be very tragic. You open up for the skeleton key, you don't see anything, you expect it to be clear, and then suddenly someone drops up.
ここ閉めるんだ
Gets that kill. Now, some spots coming through. Likafak already very close up towards the door. Shiro going for that plant. A C4 just flew over, didn't quite get the kill, so another attempt will be made. Benja looking to see if he can get the back of him, but that won't quite succeed. It's only after Shiro now in a flawless round for G2 to lock off that round here up on the top floor.
出たレマウドショットガン
That is that final bit of aggression. They had, once again, that cheeky opening kill, a sort of missed moment punished against BDS there. It's the second round in a row for G2. They felt themselves a little bit. You could see.
まあでもバーチューもともと強かったよすげえこんな選手 APAC いるんだと思ったもん
It is off the white stairs to see if you can take the mirror window from that direction onwards, or you have to expend a Selma or Twitch drone.
あれもってさチーム1の時から IGL やってたんだっけ
They do have options, so they need to explore which ones they want to go for. Seems to be that the Twitch drone is indeed the one they opt to go for.
提案できないと IGL だけっつうのもね
It's taken out right after.
サードポイント取りたいね BDS は
The new vintage TV static. Oh, in fact, wanted them to double dip there, and Alamau
あれも7-0なの
wants to. And to be fair, when he's 7-0, you don't blame him for wanting to keep trying to find these fights.
2ラウンド終わって7-0ってえぐいな
Virtue, obviously tucked. Fenrir again making a big appearance, and again.
歯磨きさん初めてのチャットありがとうございますUUNO戻ってきたよ
I do not see this.
G9ZZ さんフォローありがとうございます
Picked and played as Fabian said, and he knows a thing
あラゴニスがいたねそうだラゴニスがいたわ優秀な IGL いたわ
It's really tricky to find the exact opportunity that you would bring in the ram. I think there's only really 1 or 2 sites where it has that trade off the grenade. Doesn't quite hit anything. Eaten up. I think by a disc you would assume caught that.
Yeah, I think it went back through the window and exploded in the smoke, which is why there was a lack of.
まあでもやってたことはやってたんだ
Yeah,
ね
lack of anything. It's just smoke.
全部を背負うのはやっぱ IGL に全てをコントロールさせるのって本当にレオンギーツぐらいだぞやれたの
I traded that disc with my grenade.
That's what the disc is for, so I guess you could go for it that way. Shaiko holding some verticality out here. He's looking to see if anybody's over-rotating a little bit. Something that we have known previous G2 iterations to do every now and then, but it seems like they're not quite catching anybody right now. Virtue preparing himself to go for a bit of a flank as well, as Likafak gets the very first kill, follows that up as well, and now BDS find themselves in a 2-man advantage as Virtue is stuck in the attic.
Hops back out. I mean, they're the defender. They're sort of
まあキル拾いに行かないと実は厳しいよねあれも起きた 8-0
So we can maybe put the pressure onto the site with Alamau. Still continuing his reign, he gets that. UUNO doesn't have the pop off there. The C4 gets a bit caught, and Shiro takes a lot of damage. Alamau showers. If they don't know that he's here, Oh, he didn't hit
Uwa,
the mark,
barete
but he
nai.
still gets the kill. Finds EFAC, tries to tuck himself into a new position. They've dropped inside kitchen. There's
Yeah!
for a
10-0
triple. Will he get any more for the round? Shaiko gets one. Virtue gets another.
シャイコがいれば
Alamau's a bit hungry for it. Shaiko in the core of the site with the kit. Well, that's not active, so he can sort of get himself played here. Virtue could activate it if he really wants, but Alamau's really desperate for the fight. Virtue gets the end of it. I mean,
あれは強すぎだろ
3 than 3.
Sometimes players just have these games, Emmy, where because they
Everything he knows. If things fall away
ショ
from him,
ット
it's
コーラー
this is
で
what
打
they're
ち合おう
like
ぜ
without
みたいな
me. This
話
is what they're like without their
ゴマさん
five
フォローあ
here.
りがとうございます
no win-win
I mean,
here for
打ち合いの
G2.
タイミング言う人
It's the sort of thing though. Obviously, you know, Benja hasn't been able to get himself onto the sort of board. Doki has only just got himself onto the board. We know what those two players are capable of. Virtue has always been that consistent sort of part of the
ショ
team.
ットコーラーは局所的には指示出して大事だ全体としてあまあでも日本もそうらしいよ
Where
各チームの話聞
keeps
くと
getting them down. I was going to say it at the sort of beginning when Shaiko got 2
基本
kills
的
in
に
the
その
first round. Did you
前線のメンバーが
make sure
提
Shaiko
案してるっ
doesn't
て言ってた
activate? At this
で
point,
それでなんか迷った時とか
deactivate the
方向性がこうブレた時に
It's very
IGL
difficult
が
to
話すみたい
dismantle
な意味
Brazil
らし
and
い
Siege. They've been at it for quite a while. Transfers in almost every single region. I don't think there's any of the out of the main
アルファの
regions.
蹴り壊れてま
I
す
think we've
ね
any Brazilians out there, but they usually do well, whether it's in NA or in EU.
配信でぼやいてたけどなんでぼやくんだよウーノが入ってコミュニケーションとか助かってるらしいってポジティブな話じゃん
Really, really a big heart for the game there.
As the burn comes through, there's not the vac.
まあそういうなんかさ
Actually.
チームのコミュニケーションを円滑
Yeah, so you
に
use the skeleton key in
チ
case
ーム
the
に入った
C4
こ
or
とで
anything
回
was
せ
being
るような
tossed
存
up.
在
So
って
just
なか
making
なか
sure
ね
there's no
観戦で
instant
試合見てる
follow-up
だ
from
けだと分かんない
C4
か
as
ら
the
ね
Asura laser gate got bursted. Of course, using the shotgun there has very wide width.
あれも一人で気づい
Someone's
た
allowed to
Take
take
it
it
off.
off, yes.
Yeah, you can see that they
Well,
obviously still have
Kyle
Doki
Kong
tucked into this corner. The outline is true, and they're waiting for maybe a drop, maybe a hatch. It's also the extra width. That other blue outline, though, that is a red player. That is EFAC. Not too far away and ready to swing. And obviously, if they get the read on where Doki is, they could put a lot of pressure onto that position. In the meantime, Shaiko's doing his best to start.
ここで取れないと厳
Things up
しい
on
ね
the
マジ
back
で
end
リリー
of
ス
Frieza.
いくら
Uno's
オレ
there
ゴ
to
ンとは
offer
いえ
some support. There's the reveal on the player. Do they know about Uno moving back in? Here's the pressure I talked about. The drop on the hatch, the swing round the back is well watched.
スター入
He's
って
traded
ね
out, but
よく削っ
generally
たな
we've seen a bit more
ま
success
たあれ
come
も
into
起
the
き
favor
た
here of G2. They're ready to pop this. Doki has remained in his corner, and that's the risky thing, because that push was built on the idea of we know that he's here. EFAC wants to take the swing with the secondary, pre-fires and does a lot of damage with Shaiko
うまいね
getting
リケの
out
覗き
and finally
方
putting them out of their
ああ
misery.
最後落とされた
Virtue gets that trade-off. It's just EFAC left. 20 seconds. There's a player either side of the door. They're pre-firing the angles to find the hope and the kill on the back end. It is an impossible sort of entrance here because you swing one way, maybe a player on the other. He's able to find the first at this point. Just the tuck behind the shield. 9 seconds. Do they know where he is? They're hitting the hammer and
That was way too close.
I mean, as Grace
リ
would
ケ
say,
バ
it's
チク
risky
ソうまかったけどな今のキャラコン見た ?180 度クロス組まれてんのにさ
Being out there, there's so little time left. You could
キャラコンのフェイクえぐい
on
な
the back of the side.
羊さん
let him
こんにち
have
は
that little ground.
G2 と BDS どっちかと思いますがもうこの展開だと G2 ですねどう考えても
losses not by 4 and G
Ever?
いやでも今のリ
Yes,
ケの
you're really not giving them
キャラコン
too
震
much
え
of
た
an
な
opportunity to get rounds on the board.
マジでうめえ
Again, it's not like a blowout, but
すげえ
they're
な
making sure that BDS is just not able to cross that finish line time and time again.
いやでも今釣り出す時のキャラコンの動きよで左から絶対ピークされない位置で最後勝負したもんなドキの方はただバーチもよかったな今
Everybody's goth.
ドキ倒された時点で全然あったもんな
Look, apart from I think
タピ
Virtue,
ウマさんこんにちは
has a black outline.
Victor still has his line in his life right here. He's like, just continuing strong. I know Alamau is he's stealing the show here, but I'm looking to get myself properly on the board as well. I mean, he's 6-0 right now, so he's definitely on the board.
But that's it. I mean, the rotate there was fantastic. He took the drop out. I think they sort of got an idea the pressure was coming across. They've rotated their way back down.
Virtueも6の0じゃん
Hoping somebody drifts down, but it's being droned and checked. They'll get that down here. Because if you try and shoot at the top, chances are you're going to be locked in. They're getting awareness on the back of that position. A bit of a fight towards Doki as well. Bride wants to go on the hunt here, but the rotate has actually come round. The hot ping has pulled itself away, and it's not that Virtue's gone uncontested. But they're just sort of keeping them at the grenade underneath. Wants to lean into the fight if someone comes back round. Virtue does finally take a bit of damage. Virtue wins against the Lems. And for all my talk of I'm pretty sure they know he's there, apparently the Aussie is able to keep his head tucked.
Staying hidden just enough.
確かにベンジャーが全然映んない。ベンジャー1キルだもん。あれは
check his corner out there. You are headed towards the side. You do not check your right when there's a giant gap in that wall. He gets punished for it. This is not like BDS, what we usually see. Usually they're very clinical about spotting these players out, knowing where they are, and replying about and to it. Now, Virtue has been spotted. So if forced off, Bride's holding the door.
I mean, holding the door, holding the white van door with 30 seconds left in this side attack. It's horrible. It's just not good. You feel it. It's horrible. You're in a situation. You're having to watch for jump outs and down to the pistol. And Virtue obviously got that because of Benja throwing himself out a far right window. But the fact that they can keep the hard breach stuck behind the white van, very separated from Ranchero on the double window, that late into the round.
ドキらないだろもうさすがに。いやフリーカメラねマジでむずいのよ。おワニパンチ仕事頑張ってね。
That was a tragic round, yes.
YED1 さんでいいのかな。ほらありがとうございます。いやだから年齢はまあ人によるとは思うけど年齢はあんまり関係ないんだよ。だって今 CS 需要が結構みんなさ10年ぐらい経ってるからさ第一線級で戦ってたメンバーは30近くなってきてるのが多いんだよ。シンプルとかまだ26とかだった。一番あんなにエイム求められる競技で頑張れてるわけだからさやりようノウハウはできてきてるんじゃないかなと思うよ。特に CG はやっぱりバロとか CSGO ほど、まあ M 絶対大事なんだけど、超絶大事なんだけど、ミリでのピークそこまで、ミリエイムそこまで求められないからさ、どっちかというとキャラコンの方がよっぽど重要だからさ。まあ割合の話ね、エイムは絶対重要なんだけど、で、エイムを別に CG のエイムはエイマーたちを軽視してるわけじゃないんだけど。
Loses that one as well. Very uncharacteristic here, but now they know he's in there, so his C4 as soon as he hops on the bat is going to be blowing up.
スパッツフェチマスターさんこんばんはいらっしゃい。
I mean, there's still things. They're still ready and waiting for this to cook. There's the plant. It's turning into a little.
いやもうなんか G2 が覚醒してる。ハリオさん、ほらありがとうございます。
Don't take a step, you know.
100 seconds, still no control from the side of BDS. And as soon as they do start moving in, they might as well get blown up by C4. Benji, he's still waiting for it. Doki's down below. I believe he has a prep C4 as well. Maybe Virtue Virtue has it as well. Doki might do it at some point as well. So BDS, they have that top floor now, but there's still so many explosives down on the ground. Someone's out there. It's actually Ram being able to destroy that C4 with that gadget. There's a bit of panic right now from G2 as suddenly all the floors start opening up above him.
Well, here's the use of the Ram. As I said, you're gonna see it on a couple of sites at this point when they're getting you from underneath. This is sort of the upgraded to do it. Tear everything up. The amount of destruction gives you a lot of angles to work with. They've suffered a bit on the vertical, but here, removing those C4s, removing those players, kind of the perfect opportunity to drive it through. Shaiko finds UUNO a 3 versus 5. They were in this situation before on this site and it didn't go their way, so it's not quite written yet, but they seem to have more of a presence of mind and just where things are, and they want to angle themselves up. This site, the blinds come through, they pop the fender. Ranchero wants to tuck on the corner, but they drop high. There's one more at the same time, Benja's able to find a kill on the back end as well. Takes a lot of damage, but 5 versus 3s now. The 3 versus 2 versus the rotate round onto the back. They take the drop on the hatch, just miss it post plant. BDS have the stage. Can they keep it?
So to Cheetah to try and find out what the plant is. The first kill goes away after the post-plan. Dilems finds Benja. 1v3 for Virtue. He still hasn't died. We'll find one. No, someone's going to be around the stairs more than likely. But where is that second player?
1年だったらまだ持つんじゃない？去年11月だよ。
Virtue has right now. One outside, one unknown. Go for the shotgun, hoping to find it first. Oh, doesn't get it from the back.
すごい位置ロックしてんな。
And to get that lifeline on BDS's side, Virtue finally drops as well. And that gives him just that little bit of extra for the second half.
まあでも 5-1 だからね。言うて 5-1 だからね。
Through into elbow.
やっぱりアーカイブで見るのいいわ。試合サクサク見れる。
hasn't quite had the impact Bender as well. I kind of highlighted them as two big gunners, and yeah, okay. When you've got a player go 9-1 and someone go 13-2, it makes sense. You can see why. But now, as you've got them leading in on the Iana, you've got them trying to lead the charge on that gun game. This is your opportunity to start putting some of those numbers into your own pocket and saying, hey, it's not just the Alamo Virtue show. Have some of the read on the approach here. They've obviously got the blitz still in pocket. Shaiko is in position named after him, so he's more than happy and ready to go for the swing as the break comes across the hatch.
Now, it's going to be important for BDS to keep control of Shaiko and Elbow at the same time. That way, Blitz is never going to be able to waltz in too far. And Elmau's still walking around. He's trying to find himself an entry point. Hasn't quite decided yet where he wants to enter from. They know where Shaiko is. They have spotted him out with a drone. As he's happy to take that fight onto the staircase, Rinshiro is just putting up those discs to make sure that there's no projectile just being tossed in, ending their life.
Oh, Drones ahead,
and that means that Elamau might
soon fall. Goodman さんフォローありがとうございます。
Waiting for an approach as gadgetry has popped out. BDS playing a bit of the long con waiting game here. They've obviously got the fires, the boyos, and a perfectly played grenade. That is unfortunate. Timing. There, Shaiko. I mean, he rounded the corner as it dropped and went red. Pushed and forced by the players on the back end, but still.
That
kill is so important as well because it removes the Shaiko player and that basically allows Alamau to not worry about his back that much. He can fully focus on pushing through towards the actual elbow now. Of course, Lukafek is out here, but he needs to worry about the hatch as well. So as soon as Alamau starts to push, Benja's probably going to give that a little check and try and see if there's someone out there. But actually, they might not know he's in here. Flashbangs are coming through. Another grenade gets tossed in. Alamau takes a lot of damage as he starts pushing.
Now, as they're trying to get themselves tucked into the corner, it's pretty much a blue kill feed here, and that's the end of it. Tucked in, tucked out. It was just a perfect execute. Doki watched Alamau die hilariously.
最後でもね、なんか前回の世界大会かなんかで。
Bit of a chaotic execute there because Likafaki was underneath the hatch. They weren't aware of it. He was all shots in the vector as they jumped down, or at least he hit like 3 maximum because he went down to about 10 HP. And that means that G2 were able to just continue going.
エリートスキン禁止なの一生ブリッツのエリートヘッドギア使ってあれめっちゃ気になってます確かに大丈夫なのかなプロチームスキンは大丈夫なんだけどね
Just gotta try and braveheart your way through the rest of this.
Now, of course, the shotgun's got a buff, and sometimes we saw an Amaru with the supernova, with a suppressor on top of it. I have a feeling we're going to see that a lot more right now because the range has just been increased so much, the damage as well, just the amount of pressure you can quickly put up, and basically, especially when you swing into a window, all you need is one shot to survive, whereas with the G8, for example, you need a couple more.
バカゲキさん初めて乗っちゃったありがとうございますまあ新マップちょい難しいかねクレパピとも話したけどやっぱ BO3 じゃないと出てこないかなって話してたんだけどねまあ韓国もそうだし日本もそうじゃないかなっていう気がするなでまあ EU もそうかな
But they knew he was there so at least the threat is averted but Likafek also knows that they are droning he spots that camera he knows they're in that bus he's going to be debating whether or not he wants to go for a fight or not
I mean, look at EFAT going around the back of Doki. Does Doki have a full awareness? He's sort of angling towards one route. EFAT doesn't want to entirely throw himself in because he knows he has a bit of stretch and help does get himself glimpsed past the window though, and he's at least drawn a lot of focus onto time. They've maybe got the player out of that position. More than that, Benja Gets rid of the camera, gets rid of both cameras, and gets himself rotated. Oh no!
いいよ強っ。いやでもこれは HP3 が生きたね。体力3が生きたね。何もうまくいかない。
Now with one less player, some of those walls starting to close, they at least get the end of that route. They're tucked into the corner. Alem sits and waits patiently. They're looking to try and take control of Armory, and they're hopping on towards Attic.
Need to make a play here soon, G2. Even numbers. Need to find some more control.
いやいいよ来た。ただ晴れ間が力を抑えたので 3v3。
A bit of a 1-for-1 trade. Shaiko
いやいいよ来方だねシャイコ。
finds him as well.
シャイコのリージョン強すぎんかそれ。
Favor now BDS with 40 seconds left on the clock. UUNO
強っ。
shot down, but not quite the kill. Shaiko seems to have activated this round.
I mean, you need him when you need him, don't you? 30 seconds, a 2 versus 1. Ranshiro has the watch on the right-hand side of BDS. They get their second round.
ここはよく守りましたね。
Of a crowd control state. They're going to be trying to be more oppressive, just being out there, being present, and with that being a true
ああそう2万ぐらい見てたよね。俺もちらっと見た。いや海外は全然シージの売り上げめちゃくちゃ伸びてるね。おにぎりたちのチームが利用時間やっててマジで俺全然アジア見えてないわ。アジア試合数多くて見れん。ちょっと追いつかないかもしれない。プレーオフぐらいしか見れんかもしれない。でもおにぎりのチームボコボコに負けてたね。ここ締め切りなんだ。モンターニはインパクトいい。なんかBDS 新しい守り方してるね。シャイコポジにシャイコがいないぞ。下がらされてるだけか。あれもって元から尖ったオペレーターなんですか。そうですね。一番いろんなオペレーターをピックする感じです。あれもが。それはチーム1時代から変わってないと思う。一番幅広くオペレーター使える世界屈指の一人だと思う。それが持ち味だからね。
Alamo's getting quite some good information out here. Knows about 2 players, their locations, meaning only 2 are left to be seen. And Benji, he's holding for a rotation out there. They're still expecting someone to be up on the top floor, as there's 3 in the site right now, 4 actually in the site right now. Means that they are waiting there for nothing. But Alamo just moving in. He's going to be getting confirmation soon that everybody's in sight.
I mean, it's just this, isn't it? Reading that wall that is consistently bleeding that information back. He steps into what was put before him. The C4 wants to go over the top, but he realizes how much pressure is there, so instead finds the fight, and there it is. Renshiro pops off, but Benja at least gets Shaiko. Virtue and Bride trade out body to 2 versus 2. 50 seconds. Finds a pocket of space.
でも15キル4ですの。あれまがいれば。
Monty, the man who sort of started all this pressure however long ago, is eyeing up the idea.
いやでもこれモンターニに対してあんまり顔出したくないよな。
The pistol sling over the shoulder, and you can see BDS. They're just giving him enough to draw his focus, but not enough to do anything on the back of it. The goo mine in his foot is slowly going to eat away at him. He's got to lean into an engagement, because as soon as he stops and tries to pull this out, likelihood is
いやグーマインが重い。モンターニに対してグーマインがやっぱだいぶ効くよね。HP だいぶ削れるようになったもんな。
Either side of him, he's doing the best that he can with the little he's got to work with. They're just bullying him at this point.
うまいね今のも。
closer and making him drop
お互いにうまいね。
Still not the first spray.
やりきれね。相手は体力3だからな。
Did whatever he could there with that shield, but I mean, you really want to have an automatic gun at that point in time. BDS definitely respected him there, though.
モンターニに対してはリージョンだね。
Difference. More
coming out. In the response to it, are we going to see a backstage take? Will we see a kitchen take? Or something completely different? Maybe from the lobby. Open up those walls. Try and get a plant in there. Opportunities they could go for here, and BDS cannot be prepared for all of them at the same time.
They're trying to eye up maybe a quick close break here, but Lem's holding the angle. Shaiko again has drifted to offer some support. Looks like they wanted to bounce a grenade there for a second, and Shaiko is there perfectly ready to lean into it. As I said, the call came from Alems where they are. He's looking to get the next fight.
いやー、ここ勝ちたかったね。
Takes a lot of damage. The man with the heart breach in the kit is at least taking the risk.
しかもフェンリーで落ちちゃったからな。
Into this even hand, but it seems like they want to pull away from the plan. They sort of said, okay, well, we've got
これでロビー側が割られる可能性が出てきちゃった。
but not enough to lock it in. Oh, Alamau through the window drops EFAC.
Great play there, getting that drone in, localizing where the Ella was playing, and instantly going for that push because the shotgun wasn't on point. Benja got damage as the feet are exposed whilst walking around. The man advantage is definitely there for G2. A minute 30 left on the clock as well, and they're basically scurried around the map a little bit, so they're not all in one place. They're still looking to try and take fights from multiple different directions here, which could either hurt them or really work in their favor here as BDS is looking to dig in a little bit deeper, but they seem to be aware as Elma has a camera onto Shaiko there. All they need now is just a player that can deal with it.
Well, can they deal with it? The drop of the hatch is the first catch for Shaiko. He's looking for the second. He shoots high and low, but Bride's the one that gets UUNO on the back end, and they've got to try and just roll on by. There they are. Dipping their toe into the site. They still have a bit of vertical control and caught in the middle of a Fenrir mine. They're getting that smoky cover, and just slips on by. Renshiro, but with 50 seconds, can they isolate a player? There is a ping, but Shaiko has the play. Virtue's removed from the board. They're angling themselves to the top of white stairs, but the C4 pushes into the favor of BDS.
It's a better late than never kind of person.
まあ実としてはここで決め切って3ポイントだよな。いいタイムアウトだと思います。
Yeah, it's points mean prizes. Famously. The biggest prize is SI.
縦上だのでガジェット壊してる場合じゃないから、そうです。丁寧に攻めれないんですよ、オレゴンは。だからどっかで無理に突っ込まないといけないから、縦で前線上げてって感じです。
Well in a regular stage, so they have a little points. As you said, I believe they were 7th place, compared to the 47th place of BDS. They won G8, but that doesn't give you any points. So, as great as it is for them, it doesn't help them for this stage.
And Shiro's holding out with UUNO, very quick to break this wall. Remember that, he was in this position to get one of the last kills at this point. Whether it was an angle he felt confident in, he's not going to feel the same this time. Forced slightly further back. Maybe a little bit more tradition here from G2's approach is going to cause a little bit more, fear from the respect coming from the side of BDS. Benja wanted to bounce that grenade. This time, Alem's playing the far side with the 1.5. Hoping to get the catch on the back end of it. He's sort of saying, come over here and fight me.
シャイコのリージョンも厄介だね。
Yeah, they're saying not yet. He has the rotate. They have the chance at maybe
ちょっと2回取れないね、ハードブリッジした割には。実まずいぞ。ここ追いつかれるとマジでオーバータイム来るぞ、これ。
It's a lot of blue on blue according to the outlines here today. Luckily, not the case. It's G2 stacking themselves up to go for a very quick take into trophy and
ブラーが抜けてジェミニが入ったんですけど、ゲーマーズエイドで全く振るわずにそのまま
Can they just get around this last corner? That's the sort of big cost because they're deep diving. There's EFAC pushing to get one. They lose the second, but quickly pick back up, and there, at least getting Renshiro on the back end. Ride's still underneath and locked out by Shaiko, who's really started to turn into a bit of a tour de force here. Through the remaining half of the game, the 3 versus 2. Benja is obviously. I was going to say inside the site, but without much support. Now he's not. Just leaving Virtue and a kit that's a little bit isolated. Trying to get the swing onto Shaiko. Inside kids. He's concerned about somebody coming up underneath him because obviously Zulu was played before. They do have a player in that position. Pulls out the goo mine. More than enough. There's the last drop. There is
6-5. のショットがあそこが届くんだ。
Bride was just playing like a reverse boogie out there. He's playing right below, and every time he heard footsteps, he just started blasting with that shotgun going upwards. And just taking lives as he went.
Toward.
He has been able to get
これ
the
オーバータイ
upper
ム見えてきたんじゃない 5-1 での折り返しだったんだけどな。
So does that really mean that it's
13の5と17の7がいるのに G2 取り切れん。
to perform if they want to get the 3 points, and otherwise they'll be forced into overtime because they have been the ones that have been in the lead for the majority of this game.
Renshiro is expecting engagement. Alamau, had a storm of a first half of this game and has still made his name pop up on the kill feed a couple of times. He wants to get this quick shoulder shake and shimmy round onto the player on the corner, just misses the end of it, pops the camera. He's taking a bit of quick control here of tower, but
この力抜けたんじゃない
as we see, revealed, hiding in the rafters, EFAC is waiting, ready to pounce at the right time with Doki coming to offer some support.
Trying to double it down right here. Elamau putting up some pressure, but the goo mines that are going off in the meantime as well are going to force him to make sure he falls back. There's no one there to instantly cover up on him either, and you know you really want to make sure that you're not exposing your legs too much when you're walking down staircases. It's why it's so difficult for Shields to usually do that, especially if you're not that Monty who has that full coverage. The Kafak still around on the big tower, all the way up on the top, is going to be proving quite problematic. The grenade hops in and actually gets the injure on him. Are they going to be able to confirm that though? Oh, misses the drone. It's going to be costing you so much time, Virtue.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a moment there, and it's 20 seconds that EFAC is unknowingly buying them by just being in this position. Obviously, you know, you don't get the calls, you don't get the pop-ups, you've just got to try and check this with your eyes and your face, and well, there's the check and there's the finish.
ただ時間かなり奪ったね。
Like I don't hear any movement anymore. We're pretty sure he's down at that point.
フリーカメラ若干
left on the clock. A man advantage now for G2, but still a lot of work to be done. The pillar is being heavily fortified right here by BDS. There's a lot of players around them there, so it's not really an option to go for the execute. You need to find a different approach here and Breed Day actually the one holding that off with a mirror window, with 2 mirror windows being inside that closet.
Waiting for this push, this final moment with all 9 players. We all know the importance of this round at this point, and they've lost EFAC, but he's bought them a lot of time. They're still kind of summing up how they want to make this approach. The fact that that is still softed, they're having to cover it with smoke. Yeah, it's more of an idea of BDS going, well, they're not entirely pushing from this. The pressure is coming through now towards the back of main stairs. Benja watching onto the hatch, drops into freezer and tries to find a fight around the corner, but drops it out. Alems gets the lockdown, the shotgun's in. Bride pops out. Alamau and Uno's now dropped inside. He gets a partially blind man. A 3 versus 2. They still have the man advantage, but they have barely any time. Alems is watching across. Uno's going to see if they can get the plant. The C4 just doesn't quite get the angle. Push down the corridor. Virtue and Bride trade out of the side. Virtue that gets that final kill.
Virtue すごいな今の。
Get the game. On the dying seconds, they managed to win it. That C4 forced them off. They go back on the plan. 3 seconds left, counting down, and the cover is there. G2, they are victorious. They take 3 points.
UUNO か今避けたの。最後ここ。
Have Benja watching
のプラント神がかってたね。
fight around the corner but drops it out. Alems gets the lockdown, the shotgun's in. Bride pops out. Alamau and Uno's now dropped inside. He gets a partially blind man. A 3 versus 2. They still have the man advantage, but they have barely any time. Alems is watching across. Uno's gonna see if they can get the plant. The C4 just doesn't quite get the full angle. Push down the corridor. Virtue and Bride trade out of the side, but it's Virtue that gets that final kill, and G2 just about get the game.
On the dying seconds, they managed to win it. That C4 forced them off. They go back on the plan. 3
いきなり加入して存在感見せたね。すごいね。ロドさんフォローありがとうございます。今のうますぎだろUUNO。いやスタッツになるうまさとチームへの貢献出たねいきなり。さあラスト試合行きましょう。おなんか気になるオペレーター見えてるよ。ワイルドと声。スズカメラおかしいから。ああグリムいなくなっちゃった。3層か。あちょっと待って。
The gun skin has both cats and anime on it.
See, that must be a bestseller. There's no way about it. Oh, Bumpy, that's very early on.
Hey,
welcome to Europe.
Welcome to Europe, Jigsaw.
みんなで外ピーク。
Jigsaw, an Australian sensation that has been brought over. They scrimmed and tested themselves into the team on about 300 ping or whatever it was. And it was good enough that Koi went, let's go with it. And what a perfect way to introduce themselves into this. Hosty as well could be a huge gunner in their game. They've had a couple of big showings. They're more than excited to sort of get themselves a staple chance here to prove that they're worth it to step up and to stand up, and I am excited to see them do just that. WYLDE, they were the Cinderella story of the first split. They were undefeated throughout groups, and it was a surprise factor. But surprise ended.
すごい車線通りまくってるんだけど。
And we'll see if this can be the positive. Just tucked on the side of the door to cover the noise. Tab is able to find one kill. Leon is gone. The plant is down just inside, and that is a bit of a bold strike.
I mean, I'm really surprised. This is kind of the playstyle that WYLDE has portrayed over the first stage as well, and well, it really hasn't gone anywhere. Instantly getting into that plant, it is the most important part of Siege. Getting that diffuser down on the ground, and as Tab is covering for it, finds another kill. Ace is out on the top, will be taken down. Still, the timer is ticking down. 17 seconds, and fire on the ground right now is making it very difficult for Deepak to actually get the plant in. So goes for the overheal and tries to go for another attempt.
I mean.
いやー、クロスボウで見るのいいね。
They're holding off the cover. They spray through. There's the end of it. And WYLDE from losing
お、パックブル活躍しとるぞ。
in about 10 seconds.
視点はハングリーだけどな。
down about 30 seconds later. There's a bit of a round.
Again, like this is how they played for the majority of that first
スポイトいなくなった恋。
They'd love to go quick.
強さ健在、全然健在じゃないね。スポイトいた時の方が強かった。
I mean, they don't get
まあローグで優勝した時がやっぱり完成形だった。マサランさん初見ですということで初めてのチャットありがとうございます。お、フォローもありがとうございます。
Getting the kit and getting it down is an outstanding bit of pace. They're going for a slightly different approach here, quite obviously. The top of the windows first. That drone didn't quite go into the building. That one will bounce itself, and you sort of hit one of the pillars, bounce it back, and it goes into the top. But at that point, I think they've realized, well, there's nobody directly here. We can start to eye and angle up down below. Jegs is making sure that there's cover. And chance to run it, and you can see as well, obviously, Hungry's off to the side too. They're doing a much more reconnaissance-driven game this time.
Drones ahead of Jegs. Waiting patiently before moving in any further, making sure everything is cleared. Again, I don't think WYLDE is going to be taking more than they absolutely need. So a player inside of the dining room. Everybody else will be focusing towards the plant, I would assume. In some manner. So drones are coming through. Hey, seems like there's nobody directly on the side trying to challenge the entry there. And Jegs gets the very first kill into Jigsaw as well.
当倍野郎ジェグズ来たぞ。お前も当倍なんだな。エースが今回はアッシュと。ああ、サッチャーいらないか、確かに。罠多いね。ソーン、フェンリル、リージョンか。なんか濃い守り方が独特だね。
Snowmobile stairs as Packball's going to go for the plant. Through it. They cut off the first player. He's just ducked and dived himself round, and there it is, the default position. The C4 gets the down a second too late. Now they've got to see if they can try and force through the remaining players.
But this is the thing, right? Like, again, the diffuser down on the ground, and it will be ticking down. 7 seconds is at least what they need. All they need to do now is just hold off these angles, and as Aces finds the, or at least sees the first, they're not aware of the fact that what's outside they need to deal with him. Leon will find it. Jags up above, Hungry down on the staircase beyond. The flashbang from the hatch will be coming in very soon here. They're going to be able to potentially hold this off. Hungry rotates just through in time, but they need to move quickly because there's not much time left to start the defuse.
Hungry wins out. He almost wins out the next, but are they going to be there? They've won it. They've won it. WYLDE have the round. You can see Deepak's expression. He isn't sure. They know now.
Of course, they didn't know when the diffuser started. Or something. Like, if the shaking.
They're out of this position sooner rather than later, and then you just make sure that if they hit that hatch, you might be able to get the kill onto the other end of them. It's Deepak that's in this do or die.
いやでもワイルドやっぱ組織だってるね。全然あれだわ。シーズン1よりもクオリティ変わってる感じがする。そもそもあんなにセットに行く感じじゃなかったもんな。
However, the firebolts of Capitao do not get caught off by ADSs, so if that's the PC utility being tossed in, you're forced him to rotate out. As you see right there, Deepak will live, however, but he's been forced off, he's been spotted, they know where he is, and they know that angle is now clear.
One Capitao bolt was all that it took there to get rid of them. They obviously still have those ADSs there, but it means, well, they're not underneath. They could roll a grenade underneath that little drone hole. If they know Deepak's here, well, he's just seen it, and there it is, the attempt. Get the player on the back end. They free fire across the angle. You can see Aces in the far distance making an approach from the kitchen side as well. He's being a bit slower and more cautious. He wants to be as sneaky as possible. Ooh, the wrong side of a Razor Bloom there is that line. A great little bit just to force prep and supply into a trickier situation. Knocked in the door inside the site. Winning the fight down.
が仕事してる。パックブルが仕事してる。すげえプラントに強引に行くな。
Brian suffers on the wrong end of Tab's repel here.
いや、気づけてね。
To stop the planting player inside. Hungary had the only bit of cover there. They're picked back up. Hosty needs to try and bite his way down. And now with Leon on the slow creep round, he doesn't know about the angle open behind him. And it's just this lack of awareness. Once again, the new player, the new pickup, Hosty, all that's left in 3 versus 1, but they've got vertical, they're outside. How do you pull this one back round?
Again, the WYLDE playstyle is just completely different from most teams within the Europe League. They focus on the plants more heavily than any other team. And you know, they come in, they open up the angle to see there's no one in there. Take that for yourselves, because if there's no one in there, that means they will know that it has been opened up.
まあちょっと3層だからかもしれないけど、すごいなんか意図的にプラントするためになんか相手を動かしてヘイトコントロールしてるように見える。
Brian now trying to go for a bit of a swing himself as well, looking out the window, but not anything being gifted to him. WYLDE very careful about their approaches here, making sure they drone out everything, and again taking a minimal amount of ground. They only take what they need and nothing more than that.
ディフューザー持ってた。
As they're getting themselves ready
ディフューザー持って
to open up
敵なぎ倒してトライしに行ってるからな。
It's going to be upping the pressure.
シーズン1の思い出を返してくれよ。めっちゃ楽しかったのに。
It's 3 soft ones as well. It's just all going to be opening up at the same time.
It's safety first. You get yourself that width, you get yourself that position and prep without really giving the game away of what is sometimes a dangerous balcony to be on, especially when you're up against a team like Koi that can swing and be aggressive in the blink of an eye. X pushes up blue there.
ジグズなんで帽子かぶってんだろう。寝起きなのかな。
There's nothing just stopping that wall being popped open, but there isn't.
なんか壁に対して阻害要因がないから簡単に割れるよな。
Koi hasn't stepped into a fight as of yet. They still have some protections. They obviously didn't have it fully locked in, but where Cryan is in that position, he can get a bit of a swing before pressure comes his way. Jigsaw's keeping them a bit clean, quite close as well. It's a dangerous place to be in, and he's got a lot of faith in Cryan keeping the cover down.
Slowly falling back here, not wanting to take the fight. There's a minute 30 left on the clock. Koi still has all players left alive and some on the side as well. Of course, the next goal will be to open up this wall, and I believe they're doing it currently. Grenades being tossed over the top, the exothermic popping off as well. And that means they now have a line of sight into and all the way through towards the west main area. Tab opening up above as well to make sure there's no verticality going to be attempted by this side of Koi.
その作戦なんだよな、角が。そう見えるんだよな。
Might be a bit later than it usually was.
That's it. They
ハングリーで G2 にいた人ですか。そうです。あ、おふたさんこんにちは。
They weren't able to force them out. Jigsaw slipped away as well. That vertical is a very important plant. If you're going for this plant, you cannot just tuck yourself with that box being safe. Ooh, there's a big problem for them. Deepak gets one.
Deepak これが狙いでしょ。
A little bit of a hot breach. Jegs goes through. There's the swing. There's the first take.
いやでも結局こうやって挟まれたら意味ないんだよな。
30 seconds.
いや今のエースがうまい。
Once again, going to see if he can try and stick this kit down in the 4 versus 2. It's easier to get locked in off the back of the top rope. He doesn't even really know where the player is. Jigsaw goes down above. It is just Hosty left, and
Hosty しか残ってない。Hosty っていうの
where he is. He's about to tuck himself around to the player on his shoulder.
絶望。
All plants, all round.
これはだねこれ。
Really playing well here again. Spotting the weaknesses, inserting
エイシスさん
yourselves
フォローありがとう
into
ござい
right
ます。
away.
なんかちょっと若干これはになってきてるね。
Side, things went away from them, and then suddenly AC swings in, gets the kill onto the back end with the hot breach. They get a second, and Packball goes, well, let's try and get the hit down over there instead, because even though they'd spent
ちょっと遅い気がする
sort
な
of。setting up and proposing they would go for a default dining plant,
ハングリーの屋根裏今日は夜
change
だ
the。plan and the change of tact, but still the focus on the kit is an important part of WYLDE's arsenal. Got them 4 rounds, and you can see if they can try and keep pushing that divide.
I mean, it's the flexibility, the calls that get made in the middle of the game. Like, hey, we have control of trophy now. And it's like, okay, we'll go deeper. You know, instant that call comes through. And they just change the plan as it stands. And everybody rolls with it. It's very commendable to see. But In the 5th round, WYLDE again on the attack, looking to find themselves an entryway into the building, more importantly the site. And drones are spotting out a lot of clean and clear area, which might indicate the fact that Koi is playing more onto the site. There's 1 or 2 roamers out there max.
一瞬ドーンってきたね。
Rest is all holding to the side, and those roamers also playing on the staircases, able to rotate around as quickly as they need to. But the Twitch drones are coming through, and as there is going to be an Electroclaw that gets removed, both of them,
V ボードヌーブさん初めてのチャットありがとう。
WYLDE have the opportunity to start opening up the walls they need to have open up, and they can start facing towards a plant at that point.
フォローもありがとう。
You know, the Twitch drone rolling through, getting both claws and
ちょっと閉めてアレンジしてる。
door itself. They're just flipping on by. Can't quite stop that. It looks like there's a maybe. The bulletproof as well, to the right hand side of the door, so they can maybe keep an eye.
Y セライージーに割れすぎじゃない？
Of what WYLDE is doing has been Koi sort of deficit. A bit of a gap in the break there between the
し
two
かも
walls.
多さいるぞ
They're
今回。
angling towards that. The C4 is able to go through because they burst their way back with a huge hit.
強すぎ。
Three across the
し
board.
かも
Time to get the reload.
単発銃なのに。
The hatch with the fear coming through there. The smoke hits the back end of it. Cryan is on the pickup. Jegs goes down.
ああでも8取り返した。
There's a fight. He
ああ
misses
ちゃんとハングリー上がってきてる。
Steps a little bit further forward, and now it's Cryan's turn to be the last Koi remaining player in a post-plant situation. He looks for the first fight, cannot find the connection. 5 in a row.
いや緩急がつエースのカメラ。
Execute there. Walls open up. They're aware of the person in blue.
緩急がすごいねワイルド。今だって割れた瞬間になだれ込むっていうの多分。まああそこまで割れればな。ワインセラ6も割れちゃったからな。居場所がだいぶないもんねワインセラ側に。
versus Koi, that's had obviously a much more tumultuous year, but has had major changes now at this point. They're having to cut their teeth, but it's always the fact that obviously because we're so limited on stages, because we're so limited on points, you have to make it all connect. Fortunately, currently it connects for WYLDE. Once again, moves Cryan on the back end. One-time major champions last year, Koi.
実は勝ったよ。最後ウーノの驚異的なミラクルプラントが炸裂して勝った。マジでギリギリで勝ってた。オレゴンがやっぱり防衛が強すぎるな。やってみると。またエースズだ。
Packbull takes a lot of damage himself as well. Jax finally gets shut down, brings it to a 4-3 situation. Bit of damage on Hosty there as he rotates around, but still alive and kicking, most importantly. A minute 25 left on the clock right now as the drones start rolling through. The site is being scouted itself. Still being aware of the fact that someone might be rotating up, I believe, as we saw the player go prone into the library there. Packbull getting a ping on the player on blue stairs as well, so he's holding a very tight angle, hoping to get the drop on Leon as soon as he does move through.
Lines are starting to push Leon off his position. He's caught.
屋根裏ゲーミングルームでも羨ましくない？ああいう秘密基地感は俺羨ましいわ。いやなんかこれマジでぶっちゃけ恋どう当たりたいんだろうね。なんか全部フリーキル取られてんじゃん。カバーがほぼ成立してないぞ。でまた毒なんだ。次のリワークマップはあれじゃない？ビラは入るじゃん。
Who wanted to swing up to the fight. It seemed like they had some awareness. It was about to meet them, so they pre-fired the swing.
なんかもう新規マップ来て競技シーンでいい気するけど。わあちょっと F になった方がきついね。
Aces gets another for the round itself. He's currently locked in. Tab gets caught out.
いや悠長にステンピストル撃ってる場合じゃないでしょ。なんでこれ毒なんだ。いやなんか狙いわかるんだけど他のオペレーター優勢されんかって感じ。
I mean, it's
ああ要塞ね確かに。
against an entity that just always seems to A know where you are, but B know where they need to be.
いやもうこれは持ってきてる作戦の問題だと思うよ。
I mean, it's just the
IGL がどうこうじゃない気がする。
of WYLDE as Deepak will find another kill. He's in a 1v2 now. He's about 10 seconds to get both the kills and start to defuse. That turns down to 7, counting down. He just has to go for it at this point. The time is running low. He gets taken down as well. Aces finds that final kill. And it's going to be 6-0, a clean half from WYLDE. But I just want to highlight the
6-0 か。
Love red like and medics, but we often have easy as well. Stefan, yeah.
そうね、常に限界守り状態で、その理由は壁に対して割れることに対して何もアクションを起こさないから。さすがにじゃない。
Probably from anybody working on a broadcast here. So they're
finally
be able to show that creative freedom they have and you know have been aiming for such a long time, and it's working so great for them.
海を渡ったジグソー、ここまで活躍しきれず。スクリームあんまり回ってないかもしれないね、正直。ジグソー入って全然練習できてないかもしれない。もう解説もため息ついてる。だって 5v3 だもんな、マッチポイントなんて。これマットじゃないよね。マットではないんだ。
Now they can finally be picked up with the rest of it. At least they recover that player and get themselves back into a 5 versus 4.
Look about the C4s that are still about though. Teb, Aces both carrying those nitro cells. There he goes. Just waiting for the ping to come through. Like there is one on top of it right now. That's what the ping is for. Just the person on the black eye can call. Like yes, blow it up now. Might actually be on the diffuser as well. I'm not quite sure. As soon as they pick that one up, that might be problematic.
上は取れたけどな。
There's potential problematic. There it is.
There you have it.
きたー、突き上げ、さっき置いたやつだね。
About cam or not, either way, it was just as effective. They're looking to fight down into dining. Epec wants to angle it first, takes the head off one, but Ace is able to find one hook.
いやでもアーマーパネル割れないし。
Rotated around the back. Hosty activates a bit, but it's a 3 versus 2, 50 seconds, and the diffuser is not in either.
いやアーマーパネル割れねえじゃん、それどうすんの？
They're concerned about the rotate around them. There was a C4 that popped a little bit too late, and there's Hosty. Great take onto Ace.
Hosty が望みをつないでくれた。
though, as he suffered a couple of shots from the back end of the
ただ入れるルートが限られてる。アーマーパネルあるから。
Going for the pressure onto prep. They're going for the recollection of the kit itself. They're having to do this. The
時間が
slow smash onto the castle.
I was going to say every door is castle barricaded off, so they need to take it very slow. Now they do know about the player inside the pantry, but it's a lot of free space out there as Teb finds Hosty.
Well, there's the Teb spring through, and there's a 7-0. And unfortunately, like this game, our time here is also very quick as we're being shepherded away pretty immediately. Lovely to be back. We hope to be back soon.
枠ですね。今シーズンのこれ何も仕上がってないわ。逆に ITB とシークレットは良かったよ。恋はだいぶやばいです。正直何も連携できてなかった。さあというわけで皆さんご視聴いただきありがとうございました。ちょっと待ってね。明日ってさ、まあ EU あるのは俺知ってんだけど NA と被るんだっけ？あ、まだ被んない。大丈夫そう。じゃあ今週は EU とあれだな NA こうやって午前中かお昼までの間に見れそうだわ。これ経営面もやばいんだ。ピケがやってるのにスカーズ戦見てるみたいだ。そうだね。もう何も抗えなかったっていうか持ってきたものも持ってきたもんだしそこからなんかねラウンドごとにバージョンアップさせることもなかったし微妙だったね。さあというわけで皆さんご視聴いただきありがとうございました。また明日の朝 EU の Day2 やりたいと思います。その後は NA もやってブラジルはねちょっと RJI と被ってるから RJI じゃねえ RJL と被ってるから見れないかもしれないんだけど、まあ、チャンスがあったらこんな感じで遅れて試合見る配信してるんで結果分かってると思いますがよかったら遊びに来てください。というわけで皆さん日中からありがとうございました。また夜は CG やれたらやります。寝てください。ありがとうございます。いやアーマードコアのせいなのよ、寝声なのはね。というわけで皆さんまたお会いしましょう。お疲れ様でした。